The league leaders faltered last week, and probably the last place they'd want to come to is the land of the reviving giants. Huddersfield have won 2 in a row and are in the top 4, primed and ready for this visit of the Rhinos, who've struggled to win at the John Smith Stadium, having failed to win any of their last 4 visits. This is the match of the 13th round in the First Utility Super League. Leeds are on top, but the difference between them and the rest now, just 4 points. Huddersfield back inside the top 4, but that 8-point gap is daunting, and a defeat here would take it into double figures. Maybe too much to make up in the 10 rounds that follow before the split into the Super 8s. The rest of the fixtures this weekend: there are 3 games tomorrow at Hull, where Salford are the visitors, St Helens, who play Wakefield, and Wigan, who take on Hull Kingston Rovers in front of our cameras. And the others will play on Sunday: Warrington, Widnes and Castleford against the Catalan Dragons. Right, quickly to the teams, and we have some sensational news coming from the Leeds camp. But first of all, Huddersfield, unchanged just about in the back division. Scott Griggs turns 31 tomorrow. McGilvraith's 1 try short of 80. Then it's Cudjoe, Connor and Murphy, with Brough and Ellis moving into the halves. Up front, the one change from last week: Luke Robinson rested, Wood plays at hooker, it's Hubie and Mullally alongside, Wardle and Hughes in the second row, Ukuma Tai completes the starting 13. And Crabtree, with a 2-year extension to his contract signed yesterday, Lawrence, Kopjak and Leeming complete the lineup for the coach, Paul Anderson. Now Leeds, and there's no place in the 17 for Kevin Sinfield. We have scoured the record books and believe it's the first time he's been left out, other than for injuries or suspension, since he was omitted from the 2000 Challenge Cup final at Murrayfield when he was a mere teenager. His 500th club appearance last week coming off the bench, but no place in the 17 this week. So it's Hardaker, Watkins, Kinehorst comes into the side in the centres, Moon and Handley. Liam Sutcliffe, the heir apparent to Kevin Sinfield, at standoff alongside the captain now, Danny Maguire. And up front for the Rhinos, it's Cuthbertson, Ayton and Peacock. Delaney, Ablett moves back into the second row. Stevie Ward is out injured, and Jamie Jones-Buchanan returns to the side after 5 weeks out with hamstring problems. And on the bench for Leeds, well, they've got Burrow, Achurch, Singleton and Mulhern, and the coach is Brian McDermott. So there we are. It's a huge talking point here tonight. The absence of Kevin Sinfield for the first time in 15 years for not injury and not suspension. He's left out of the team by Brian McDermott, the coach. It is purely and simply a selection decision by him. Brian and John are waiting for us down at the touchscreen. To you two first, fellas, for your initial views on that Kevin Sinfield news. Brian, this was a massive decision by Brian McDermott, wasn't it?
I'm sure he's thought long and hard about it, Eddie, and it would have been a difficult decision. I guess the absence of Kevin Sinfield, the dropping of Kevin Sinfield, is part of the evolution of a rugby league player. When you're no longer first choice in the starting 13, you need to prove your worth to the coach in a different way. You need to prove that you're worth one of those valuable bench spots. Most teams like to go with 3 big forwards. Leeds tonight have gone with 2 front rowers and a big back rower. And then a utility player. Rob Burrow on this occasion has got the nod, ahead of that man, Kevin Sinfield. Both can play in the halves, both can play hooker. Kevin Sinfield's done it at international level and done it very well. 2 of them there congratulating each other after Sinfield's try. 500 games up. We know he can do a job for the Leeds Rhinos, but off the bench on this occasion, Brian McDermott has gone with Rob Burrow. Rob Burrow's impact has been valued higher than the impact that Kevin Sinfield can bring. In a game I expect to be tight, I'm somewhat surprised, because Kevin Sinfield in a tight game can provide steadiness off the bench, and of course if it comes down to a kick towards the end of the game, there's nobody better in Super League than Kevin Sinfield. But as I say, part of his natural transition towards the end of his career from a starting player to perhaps a bench player, Eddie.
John, I think it's safe to say, isn't it, that this isn't the end of the road for Kevin Sinfield. I was talking to Brian McDermott earlier on today, and he has said it is purely and simply a selection decision tonight. Who knows what will happen in the next week, the next 2 weeks, the next month, between now and the end of the season. He has a pivotal role to play in the Leeds Rhinos team between now and grand final time, they hope. No,
there's no doubt about that, Eddie. I think Super League and the intensity of Super League requires a full 25, 30-man squad, and everybody's going to play their part. Kevin Sinfield will be no different. What I do think there is an element in there is is succession planning, though. I think, you know, this whole raft of young players who are now seeing the ripe old age of 35, Sinfield and Burrow and Maguire and Jones Buchanan, they all came through as a wave of youngsters, and you're starting to see the next crop now. And I think you look particularly with reference to the team selection, Eddie, and you've got Jimmy Kynors in the centre. I'm sure Brian McDermott wants to see what he's capable of on a longer-term basis. He's got Ash Handley on the wing. He's able to move Carl Ablett back to his preferred position of back row. So, you know, I think if there's a positive to take out of this, from a team selection point of view, it's not the end of the world for Kevin Sinfield. There will be a big part to play. Looking at tonight's opposition, I can see why he's not made his place on the bench. And you alluded to that, Brian, in your answer as well. This is a big Huddersfield pack and a big Huddersfield bench. And I think Leeds have gone with the same, judging by what Huddersfield have been able to do to their opponents over the last few weeks, Eddie.
OK, fellas, thanks very much. We will have Steve-O's take on the Kevin Sinfield affair when we come back from talking to the boys again, because they're going to now look at the match itself. Brian and John, what you've already hinted about how you think this one is going to go. Massive Huddersfield team against the Leeds Rhinos.
Yes, absolutely, Eddie. Two very big packs. Whether or not it comes down to that, we will have to wait and see. It certainly is the best defence in Super League in the Huddersfield Giants, coming up against the best attack as measured by points conceded and points scored. Tell me, John, you've looked back at Huddersfield's games so far this season, in particular the last 3 and 4 games. Why has their defence been markedly better than most of the other Super League clubs?
Well, I'll tell you what it's not, to start off with. Huddersfield, you're not seeing an awful lot of scrambling try-line defence. No extravagant try-savers, no periods of seats of the pants defence from them. It's very controlled, and they're working together as a team. It looks very simple. They're making life simple for themselves. And I've seen a couple of things that have emerged over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and some trends, some patterns have played. I've seen a completion rate has crept up in the last 3 rounds from 72% to 75% to 80% last week against Hull.
So they're not being forced to play the game near their own try line. Why is that? They're
playing a huge amount of their rugby in their opponent's try line, which is keeping their try line clear. This is why, and you know, there's no secret to this. Danny Brough is the key for an awful lot of this. His kicking game is superb. We know about that already. The metres that opposition are getting off the back of kick returns is so low compared to what Huddersfield are doing and the Super League average. This was against Saints round 10. Completion rate 72%. Opponents' meters from kick returns 56. That's in the entire game. Round 11 against the Catalan Dragons. Completion rate 75%. So the forwards are doing the work. Low error count. Opponents' meters from kick returns 60, and that was against Huddersfield's 107 in the same game. This last week against Hull FC, completion rate 80%, even less errors. Playing the opposition in their own half of the field. Opponents' meters from kick returns 34 metres in kick returns in the entire game, and that's phenomenal. And that ability to restrict an opponent's meters and keep them that end of the field is then, it's cyclical. The whole thing works, doesn't it? They end their set of 6, 40, 50 metre line. Huddersfield's kicks received on the 20, 30 metre line, and the whole thing progresses. They're spending an awful lot of time in the opponent's half of the field thanks to that kicking game.
Well, we're going to talk shortly about the attack they will face from the Leeds Rhinos. One of the elements of the Leeds Rhinos attack, and it ties in nicely with the point you've just made about the Huddersfield Giants kick chase, is Leeds Rhinos' ability to score tries on kick returns. Now that, though, is usually with Ryan Hall and Tom Briscoe in their side. Those two players are absent, and we can now go down to speak to Phil Clark, who is standing pitch side. Phil, with no Ryan Hall and with Tom Briscoe, are Leeds as potent returning the ball from Danny Brough's kicks as they would be with those other players playing in the side?
Well, we'll find out at the end of this game tonight, Brent. It's just worth explaining again what we're talking about here. There are a variety of ways that you get the ball in a rugby league game. Sometimes the opposition drop the ball, you're awarded some penalties, or you may even force a repeat set. But the most common way of getting possession in rugby league is when your opponents kick the ball downfield and you're asked to return it from your own try line, as John just witnessed. And Leeds are by far the best team at this. In the 6 tackles that you get when they're returning the ball from close to their own line, Leeds have scored 13 tries so far this season, the best. No other team gets close to them for scoring tries in sets of possession when they've been asked to pick it up near to their own try line and work their way downfield. And you've touched on the reason, probably because of Tom Briscoe and Ryan Hall are 2 of the best, as is Zach Hardecker. And the challenge for Huddersfield tonight, who, as you see, haven't been as successful at scoring when they've been asked to return the ball from their own line, is coping and stopping the first few players that Leeds have had in that set. Zach Hardecker particularly, if they get the ball to him on a kick, the defence has to be better than it has been in any game so far this season. I also said another way that you commonly get the ball in rugby league is when the opposition concede a penalty. And as you can see here, Huddersfield haven't been particularly good with their discipline so far this season. Only one team have conceded more penalties than them at the midpoint in the year, and the Rhinos, well, not only have they been the best team to watch, but they've also been the most disciplined side, conceding the fewest penalties of any team so far today. I suppose that's pretty good. You know, the game, I'm very excited about this game because we've got two pretty evenly matched sides. I know one's sitting fourth and one's at first. But the last 3 times that these teams have met one another, the game's gone down to the very last 60 seconds with the result still in the balance. And that is equally as important and interesting tonight because these two teams have been very good in the final quarter of games. You know, if the game gets to that 60-minute mark, we could see a brilliant last 20 because these two sides have been phenomenal at both scoring and preventing their opponents from scoring in the last 20 minutes of games this season. You can see Leeds have scored 22 tries in the last 20 minutes of the games they've played. And their opponents, the Giants, well, they're just behind them as the second best side. But again, the concentration of these two teams has been excellent for 80 minutes because they defend for the full duration of the match and have been excellent at doing so. I think we're going to have another classic. I equally think this one will go to the last 60 seconds, and you never know, we might need that drop goal at the end of it.
But no Kevin Sinfield to knock it over. Thanks very much, Phil Clark. Now it's almost Mayweather improving. Will that mean the teams throw the ball around a little bit more, John? A significant part of the Leeds Rhinos' attack this season has come from second phase play, from offloading the ball. Can you explain to us, please, how offloading causes the opposition defence so much difficulty?
Well, first of all, the numbers. 243 offloads going into tonight's game. That's nearly double their opponents tonight and 89 more than their nearest rival in Super League, the Catalan Dragons. The effect that has against the opposition, very often these offloads are coming late in the tackle as well. They're popping out very late at the point, just before the referee calls held. Many of the other players in the defensive line thinking the tackle's finished.
So they've already retreated.
Already on the retreat, or they're on their way back against an unset line of defence that's not expecting it. You're not using up tackles, you're attacking different parts of the field without burning through your tackle count. I've got some examples to show you because it's a huge part of the game. It's been a huge asset for them in 2015. And this was against St Helens a couple of weeks ago in that magnificent victory at Langtree Park. And you've got off the kick-off, first of all, Jamie Peacock, and we know he does this, over the top offload. And then to Cuthbertson, and incidentally, Cuthbertson, this man, 55 offloads this season, and I can't remember a bad one, Brian. That is a staggering 25 more than the next player in Super League. It is a huge, huge asset to the Leeds Rhinos, and he's at the forefront of that. This last week, the reversal at Headingley against Warrington, and that result, by the way, just goes to highlight how good that performance from Warrington was, because Leeds have been exceptional this season. And that's the threat that they provide. It's shifting the ball from one part of the field to the other without burning up a tackle and challenging a different part of that defence. It's something they're very, very good at. You could see from the...
So an unstructured attack?
I wouldn't call it unstructured because you've got Paul Ayton there sat in the pocket and he's expecting offloads now. It's become almost the norm for them. And you've got Ayton and Burrow off the bench able to work off that. Look how good Joel Moon is second phase play in the centre, how good he is at straightening up, and that very often against a retreating or an unsteadied defence. So as I said, huge asset for them. It's a strength that they play to very well, and the numbers are just phenomenal.
Huddersfield, I should say, have an offloader of their own, and I'm going to tip him for a very big game tonight. All the talk has been about Cuthbertson. Keep an eye, Eddie, on Craig Hubie tonight. He's a player who plays very much like Cuthbertson, and he's a man that the Huddersfield Giants will be hoping can lead them to glory tonight.
Yeah, it could be a very special game, this. We have got the best defence in Super League, the Huddersfield Giants, against the best attack in Super League, the Leeds Rhinos. And as you can see, we have the one and only here alongside me as well. We're going to take Steve-O's view on this Kevin Sinfield business first of all, Steve-O, then we will talk about the game in general. Look, Kevin Sinfield is an iconic figure in the game. He is a living legend at Leeds. The boys really have brushed away the fact that Brian McDermott's made this big decision. I think it's massive, don't you?
It may be massive to quite a few people, but you've got to look at the aspect of the coach himself. The coach realised they got a real drubbing against Warrington last week. The biggest problem they're going to have to face is that they really got belted out of the game. They never got into the swing of things. And when Sinfield actually came onto the field of play, he missed a few tackles. His general play wasn't as good as what we've seen. And it didn't surprise me that the coach has said. Look, last week everyone was saying that it's his 500th. Surely he'll lead them out. I thought perhaps that McDermott missed an opportunity when they were losing so badly at half-time. On their home ground, if Sinfield had led them out at half-time, maybe there would have been, the crowd would have lifted, the players would have lifted. Remember, Watkins had just scored a try very, very close to the half-time whistle. But it doesn't surprise me in regard to the fact that McDermott, he's the boss. Now, many, many years ago, I used to get all the Leeds fans, they'd be saying to me things like, why don't they give the youngsters a chance? Well, he is giving this youngster a chance. Sutcliffe is out there, and Maguire will be the captain. Look, Maguire had the on-field captaincy, but you've got to look at the combination that Sutcliffe and Maguire have created this season. Okay, they got belted out of it. They've got to realise that they have a problem with getting that momentum with the forwards. They were not at the races against Warrington last week.
Well, I don't think any of them were, Steve-O, and you can't say that it was Kevin Sinfield's fault that they lost at Warrington.
The point is that he would have analysed that game, McDermott. He is a very strong, powerful player. He was always a great player. He's now becoming a strong, powerful coach. Look, there comes a time you can't just pick players on sympathy. There comes a time when you're, as a youngster, you're waiting for that opportunity. But there also comes a time when you know you can't do what you've done for the last 15 years. And he's got to bring this young kid through. He's got to give him the confidence. I said it last week. Sutcliffe is building and building for the future. And he wants to be there. The coach, that is, he wants to be at Leeds for a long, long time.
OK, Kevin Sinfield then, he doesn't make this game. We know that. We've discussed it. And I think all three of the boys who've commented about Kevin Sinfield believe that Brian McDermott has made the right decision. We'll all bow to their better judgment. Let's look now at Huddersfield then, Steve-O. They're bouncing back, aren't they? As I said at the top of the show, we're in the land of the reviving giants. 2 wins in a row. It's been a funny old season for them. 3 defeats at the start. Then they had a run of victories, more defeats, and now this 2-game run of victories again. They're not going to be far away, are they, once more in 2015?
No, and like what they've done in the past, they're slowly but surely getting into the swing of things. Look, we all know that Danny Brough is a key player. They know that. But I think Coach Anderson has changed a few things. He's tweaked it in and out. In other words, Danny's the type of player. And when you talk to him, you know he's enthusiastic about the game. He wants to do everything. He wants to be the king, he wants to be the queen, he wants to be everything out on that field of play. That's the way that he's been brought up. That's the way he does not like to lose. He sometimes gets so impatient with his players. And I think that Anderson this season has taken away a lot of that responsibility and say, look, come into the line and take control, but make sure you can see what's in front of you. Instead of wanting the ball every time, wait your turn and see when the opposition maybe have a player down, a winger that's out of position to be able to put the kick in. He cannot do everything, but when he does it, it's good. And that's what Anderson wants. Every time he does get involved in the play, it's top class.
You say that he has had to tweak things, Paul Anderson, which he has, and one of those tweaks has been forced on him. Brett Ferris out injured for a good few weeks now. Joe Wardle has had to move into the second row from the centres, and that has allowed young Jake Connor to come in alongside Leroy Cudjoe. We talk about the Ash Handleys and we talk about the Callum Watkins filling in for Hall and Briscoe. That's not a bad three-quarter line that Huddersfield have got. They've got tries all over the shop.
Yeah, they've always had the speed, we know that, but I think it's going to be a really interesting thing to see how Wardle does he develop in that second row position. He's not the first three-quarter to be shoved into the pack, and it brings it out of him. We've often seen the likes of Delaney, and young O'Connor, he's taken his opportunity. He's got the confidence, and it's like what we're saying about Liam Sutcliffe. Why knock his confidence? If he's performing out on the field of play, don't just say that I'm resting you or I'm dropping you. I want you to build on it. And I honestly feel that Joe Wardle, he loves to get involved. And there's no better position to play than in the forwards to get involved.
And no better match to play in than against the Leeds Rhinos. The big brothers have come to town. We are seeing the best match of this round 13 in the Super League this weekend. It is Huddersfield who are in fourth against Leeds Rhinos, the league leaders, by a 4-point margin. How will it end up at the end of this weekend? Well, this game tonight will be a real hint about all of that. We'll be back after the break and we will have the kickoff for you. Huddersfield and Leeds is live next.
On the last, this is it, was the kick coming Henderson. Williams hoists the kick. Again, Millard will climb, it's batted down. Can he get out of trouble? He can't. Hardacre it is. He can't get, he can. Magnificent work from Zach Hardacre.
You're right, Bill. That's very good play from the fullback to get in the field.
Oh, it could be a try. It's Sam Williams. Fredino is on his feet. The ball was knocked on. Video ref.
Here's the pass from Kevin Sinfield. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Briscoe just having a little cut. As Sam Williams do. Try. That's a try. Unbelievable.
And Catalan will celebrate because they have won this game in sensational fashion here at Headingley with Sam Williams' try.
It's a little bit like bread without jam and crackers without the cheese, but Kevin Sinfield's left out of the Leeds side tonight, and we believe it's the first time, other than for injury or suspension, in 15 years. He was omitted from the 2000 Challenge Cup final, having been man of the match in the semi-final, but he was at the start of his career then. The man who made 500 appearances for the Rhinos last week off the bench, and who needs 21 points to become the third highest point scorer in the game's history, is left out by coach Brian McDermott. Sinfield is a living legend at Leeds. It's a big call, but McDermott's proving that he is the man to make those calls as he aims to maintain the Rhinos' great start to the season. So, Huddersfield Giants are aiming to follow Warrington and become only the second side to beat Leeds this year. Once upon a time, this used to be a foregone conclusion. Leeds seem to be able to beat the Giants here, there and everywhere, but no longer. They've lost their last 4 visits here. The team news, and Huddersfield have got Scott Griggs at full-back. He missed the first 3. His returns had a big influence on their rise up the table. Jamie Ellis plays at scrum-half, and he's alongside Danny Brough. Up front, Kyle Wood switches to hooker for Luke Robinson. Robinson rested for this one. Jack Hughes, on loan from Wigan for the season, makes his 100th Super League appearance. Earl Crabtree will come off the bench. The ink just about dry on yesterday's 2-year extension to his contract. A one-club man, he made his debut 14 years ago. Now Leeds, and with Sinfield out of the side, Jimmy Kinehorst makes his first appearance of the year in the centre. The new Sinfield, Liam Sutcliffe, makes his 3rd start in a row at standoff. Up front, Brett Delaney makes the 150th appearance of his UK career, and Jamie Jones-Buchanan makes his first for 5 weeks, having been out with a hamstring injury. And Brad Singleton had made 6 successive starts prior to tonight. He drops to the bench for this one. So the sun's shining here in West Yorkshire tonight, and Huddersfield, as I say, aiming to follow Warrington as only the second side to topple Leeds this year. It is the match of the round, 4th against 1st. And, well, they are fierce local rivals, these two clubs. Leeds have not lost consecutive games all season, of course, but they do look a little bit vulnerable tonight. And Paul Anderson looks a happy man. He is happy at the moment. I wonder whether he will be come the end of the 80 minutes.
Yeah, well, no doubt that Paul Anderson would have been looking through that game that Leeds took on Warrington last week. And let's face it, the Wolves completely hammered the opposition. They took the Leeds pack apart, and Leeds had no option. They tried to keep the ball out wide, but with the forwards being absolutely belted, they just could not get into the swing of things. And I'm sure that Anderson, and let's face it, when Paul Anderson played himself, it was an awesome pack that he was around, and he has built this Giants outfit on exactly the same thing. And when you've got to look at the fact that Earl Crabtree will start on the bench, they are a very, very big unit indeed. Leeds are fully aware. Brian McDermott, as you said, Eddie, has created all sorts of problems in regards to leaving out Kevin Sinfield. but it also will apply a lot of pressure to Liam Sutcliffe, because this will be the first time, I believe, that Sutcliffe knows when he comes out and the kickoff starts that he will not have that man shadowing him. So he has to produce the goods for his coach, Brian McDermott. It's going to be tense all round.
It certainly is, and the Giants 2 wins in a row behind them. Catalan Dragons here and Hull last week. 8 points behind Leeds in the table. They really do need to win. Richard Silverwood is the referee. Super League points at stake tonight, but in a fortnight's time, the cup holders, Leeds, begin the defence of their trophy against the Giants at Headingley. And coincidentally, Huddersfield, the last team to beat them and knock them out of the cup in 2013. But as I say, it's the Super League points that are at stake tonight. This is no dress rehearsal for the Challenge Cup. This is big business. And with Kevin Sinfield left out of the side tonight, all eyes will be on the Rhinos to see how they get on. So Zach Hardaker ready to get this game underway. Here we go in the sunshine of West Yorkshire at the John Smith Stadium, the first Utility Super League. It is Huddersfield Giants who take the first tackle of the match against the league leaders, the Leeds Rhinos.
And that's the sort of defence that Leeds is going to have to do for the full 80 minutes. It is as simple as that. They certainly did not shape up against Warrington last week. They know they've got to be more aggressive. And they were beaten so many times in that play-the-ball area. The first and second markers, they were nowhere for Leeds, and the Rhinos have to improve in that department.
It's Kyle Wood operating at dummy half. And he looks to his left-hand side, and he finds Joe Wardle. And he is brought down. Peacock was in there very quickly as well. There is Danny Brough. Oh, and the pass was not a good one. It bounced and it went in front of Scott Griggs. It's a knock-on. Pressure from Leeds Rhinos early in defence, and Danny Maguire, the skipper, leading the applause for the defence as this ball found its way eventually to Griggs.
Yeah, not the best pass there by Danny Brough. That'll shatter his nerves somewhat. He likes to start off with a bit of explosion. I'm afraid that that will not please his coach, Paul Anderson. Putting his side under pressure straight away.
They are under pressure. It's a wonderful place to start their first set of 6 with the ball in hand for Leeds. It comes out of the back of the scrum, and they find young Liam Sutcliffe. He gets the pass away. And that's Jimmy Kinehorst who played the ball. And it's Ayton now.
That's pretty good defence there. 4 members getting into Paul Ayton straight away. Paul Ayton really has to make sure that he does a little bit more running from dummy half.
Cuthbertson is brought to ground. Ayton waits. They're 20 metres away from the line of Leeds. Peacock was the dummy runner. He found Maguire. Ablett, good hands. Here's Hardaker. Cudjoe on his back. And the Leeds full-back is brought to ground. Moon fires the pass to Ablett. Ablett then to Jamie Jones-Buchanan. Here is Maguire. Good ball from him. Cuthbertson again. Underneath the sticks, looking to offload. Good defence from Huddersfield here. But they've reached the last tackle now, Leeds. With Ayton again. Back it comes to Maguire. Maguire then to Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe, oh, the ball bounces off the shoulder. And this is going to be the free play. And this is the free play.
Well, Aaron Murphy's picked it up, but he's lost it, hasn't he, though, on that first play. The referee wipes the tackle countdown.
Very, very sloppy indeed. You don't expect that from Leeds. They went for the power play when you could see there that Sutcliffe should have really been looking for the kick. Huddersfield came up with the error, and when you do that, you've got to make sure that they suffer. Put the ball in the in-goal area, not try to put out wide. He will not be happy, McDermott.
Hubie will play the ball. That was Wood. And here is Danny Brough, a lovely chink and a step up the middle. He's got Wardle in support, and Wardle goes over for the first Giants stride. The mistake at one end, bouncing off the shoulder of Jimmy Kinehorst. And Huddersfield swoop. They get the first try of the match. And Wardle, well, he's been a revelation in the second row. This is his 3rd game in a row there, filling in for the injured Brett Ferris. 5th try of the campaign for Wardle.
Went for the power play, should have been the kick. Not the best from Jimmy Kinehorst, but to be fair, it was going behind him. And from this position, oh, that's in and out in a step. Left Brett Delaney for dead. The support play. This is the one thing that you'll see different from Joe Wardle. Normally plays out on the centres, But with him having to play in the second row, he has a positional sense to go right down the middle. Enjoyed it, you bet.
Delight for Wardle, delight for the Huddersfield Giants. An early score, and Danny Brough, 10 metres out just to the left of the uprights, will surely add the extra two, and he does. It's 6-0 the Giants.
Well, I think Joe Wardle said in interviews this week he might stay in the pack. I think he's found it all too easy. He's been very good since moving from the centre into the second row. On this occasion, Danny Brough finds Brett Delaney over-chasing. Delaney anticipating the Brough pass to his left. Brough steps back inside and finds Wardle. The lesson for that from Brett Delaney, keep Brough on your outside. Do not let Brough beat you back on the inside, because you're going to have prop fours like Jamie Peacock on your inside, and they might not be able to help you.
Well, Joe Wardle for Paul Anderson, adding to his tremendous record against the Leeds Rhinos, a try-scorer before tonight in 5 of their 6 league and cup meetings with Leeds since 2013. It's been a little bit checkered, his matches against the Rhinos in the past, because he was sent off for punching Carl Ablett, having scored a try in a cup defeat at Leeds in 2013 as well.
Well, the most amazing thing there that a lot of the Leeds supporters, that's a beautiful ball out wide.
Was Connor feeds the winger, and Aaron Murphy is brought down. Wardle in the dummy half. There's Brough, it goes high off the left boot, and the chase is on. Well played. Good take. Good take under pressure from Ash Handley.
Yeah, it had to be, and Handley has to realise he's going to get plenty of those from Danny Brough tonight. It is as simple as that, but he looked pretty confident to take it. The point I was trying to make, Eddie, is that remember when Liam Sutcliffe, rather than kick into the corner, you can guarantee that most of the Leeds fans here and the Leeds fans watching would have said Sinfield would have kicked into the in-goal area. This is the pressure that this young kid is going to have to face for the rest of this season.
Ayton, the dummy half, looks for a short pass, finds Jamie Jones Buchanan. Missed the last 5, he was injured, he tore his hamstring in Perpignan in March. Back here tonight, and Maguire with the kick right down the middle of the field. Big bounce.
A great kick, isn't it? To get the ball to stitch around the try line, and Aaron Murphy's had some good early touches, brings it back. You know, the one thing that some of the Huddersfield supporters worried about when Brett Ferry suffered that serious injury here, and that they'd lose their attacking threat on the left-hand side of the field. For Joe Wardle's moved one place closer to the centre, still operating around Danny Brough, and been equally as devastating. I suppose young players given an opportunity, it's sink or swim. And Joe Wardle's swimming pretty quick for me.
There was Ellis, he just dropped the pass off to Hubie. He gets the offload away, and they're lucky to get away with that.
And was that a touch? Well, he was trying for the 40-20, it's bouncing all over the place.
Handley dealt with it though. It just stood on its end, the ball then. Had it gone the other way, that would have been a brilliant kick, or would have been calling it a brilliant kick.
I'm not so sure that the Leeds hand didn't just touch it way back downfield. Either way, the Rhinos need it. They've got to get back into some sort of a shape. No, maybe he didn't. Ayton didn't get any finger on it at all.
So this now is Brett Delaney. Quick play the ball to Ayton. Peacock, good hands. But the ball goes to ground, and goes to ground again, and the referee gives the knock-on in favour of the Giants.
Well, it looked as though it went backwards as far as I'm concerned.
And Danny Maguire saying there's a Huddersfield hand in there.
Well, I think it came off a Huddersfield hand first, and that's what made it look like it went backwards first. But perhaps not. Perhaps he just got the arm. Perhaps he's right.
I don't see a knock on anywhere there.
There's definitely a knock on the second one. If it's not from Danny Maguire, the ball's gone back there, and I think it's this next one where he tries to pick the ball up and he knocks on then.
I don't think Jamie Ellis had a touch to it, and Hughes certainly didn't. And I just, well, that goes backwards. Maguire gets a fingertip and it goes behind him. Either way,
penalty at the scrum while we've been watching that.
Yeah, the prop striking for the ball, that's what it is.
Cuthbertson having an early strike, a too early strike for the ball.
Good grief. Striking for the ball.
As a prop.
Never mind. Even as a hooker, striking for it.
Cudjoe. Played the ball to Hughes, and that was Ellis who got the pass away. Hubie is underneath the considerable frame of Jamie Peacock. Here is Brough again.
He's on form. Okay, came up with the error. Bad pass in the first minute. But I think his combination now with the fullback Scott Griggs tonight will be so important. He's a one man. He comes second phase, does Griggs as the fullback, but he's the key man. Danny Brough.
Ellis plays the ball to Wood. Here is Griggs. Griggs to the in-goal area, and Hardacre is trapped. He just took the ball over the dead ball line. Goal line dropout coming up.
All about just getting that pressure, and the fullback Scott Griggs. And you can guarantee that Brian McDermott will be thinking, why on earth did we not kick when we were in a similar position way downfield? Resulted in the Giants scoring the try.
Well, I think it's important that the Giants attack down their right-hand side as well. Danny Brough certainly favours his left. Will not lock in, will sometimes come over to the right. But it's important that Jamie Ellis and Scott Griggs throw something at the Leeds Rhinos' left-hand side defence so they don't get comfortable in this game. At the moment, if it all goes down towards Danny Brough, that'll be too easy for the Rhinos to defend.
Bit of a misread between three players there. Anthony Mullally was the man who picked up the loose ball in the end. Hubie takes it forward again for the Giants. They go down the left-hand side once more. Here's a Kumatai, who has been singled out by Coach Paul Anderson this year for having a fantastic season thus far. Kyle Wood with a little scamper forward. Wardle, the try-scorer, into the arms of Brough. And Brough gets it away despite the challenge from Cuthbertson. Hubie thought about the pass and then just almost fell into the tackle, took it forward.
Will this be another for Handley? No, he's going out the left-hand side.
Oh, and it bounced off the face of Maguire, and that is Okumatai, and it comes out and Brough touches down. This is the first decision coming up for video referees Steve Ganson and Ben Thaler tonight. They've got no try on the field.
Just check the ground in there, please.
What's the problem here, Stuart, do you think?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I think the tackle's complete at that point, so certainly the ball hasn't been grounded, and I think he's lost that ball.
Has he lost it, or has he had it stolen?
Well, he's got to be entitled to try and stop the try at that point. He's got his arm around the ball, and I think trying to force the ball out, he's lost it.
Well, it was one-on-one. I don't think there was anybody there.
Well, I think there's two in the tackle. We've got Hardacre down the bottom.
So he comes away. No, he's still got hold of him.
Certainly the arm carrying the ball is on the ground, so in that effect, you know, the tackle's complete. If he's then lost the ball after that, we should see a scrum with head and feet to Leeds, but no try.
What about the double movement, surely?
What about the steal? Are you convinced that he's lost the possession? Anyway, here we go. The try is disallowed.
Hand over.
You got it right, Stuart.
Tackle's complete.
I think when we were here last season for the 12-all draw, there were quite a few contentious calls by the video referee.
That's a massive save. Paul Ayton, I think, Callum Watkins. And the Leeds defenders have done really well there to prevent the second try. Because that looked, there was more chance of it being scored than not. It's been a pretty good opening 11 minutes for the Giants. They've been very pleased with how the match started.
The most amazing thing about that, though, is that if he had got over the line, surely he would have been brought back penalised for the double movement, because that's what he did.
It was just the turnover on the Leeds Rhinos goal line. That's why they've had 3 tackles and they're still midway inside their own half of the field.
I think they should have got a penalty there for the double movement, attempted double movement.
Cuthbertson picks himself up and plays the ball to Ayton, and Ayton runs to the right-hand side, gets the pass away, and Jimmy Kinehorse nowhere to go then. He had 3 around him. We've reached the last tackle for Leeds. Sutcliffe will hoist the kick high and in towards the corner. McGilvray is underneath it.
You know, it was a good set from the Leeds Rhinos, considering where they were given the ball. They made 50 metres up the field. Not a great position to put an attacking kick in, but they'll still be pretty happy getting those sort of metres against a team like Huddersfield, who are so good, as John Wells described before the game, at restricting teams coming off their own line.
And look where Huddersfield are coming from now, from their own line. So Leeds went from one end of the field to the other with 5 drives and the big kick downfield from Liam Sutcliffe.
And that will please Coach Brian McDermott, because last week they failed to get into the opposition half on so many occasions. But that was good, solid work, mainly due to the fact that Paul Ayton, he's looking a lot more of a live wire tonight.
Go, 5!
Brough again with a long kick down the field, but good positioning by Zach Hardacre.
It was a poor kick, and you can see now that he's brought Leeds into a comfortable position.
Go, 1.
You know, it's been either feast or famine for Huddersfield this year. They lost the first 3,
2, move,
then they had 4 straight wins, then another 3 defeats in a row, and they're coming into this match on the back of winning their last 2. So it's been that sort of a season for them, erratic, I think.
One of their better players, Eddie's just getting off the ground, number 17, Akuma Tai. He's been playing long minutes. Paul Anderson said this is the fittest he's been since he's been to the club. This is the player we wanted. See his team now awarded a penalty. He is a strike weapon for the Huddersfield Giants, no doubt about that.
Well, it looks like Kopchak, and there is the big man. But Kopchak, swinging arm.
Yes, high tackle, and Liam Sutcliffe got him just round the neck area, so referee with no option. And here comes Jamie Jones-Buchanan on the first drive. 17th season in Super League, Jamie Jones. He's an exceptional worker for the Rhinos. Now Maguire, and he finds Ablett, another industrious player in the second row, Carl Ablett. 5 metres away, Ayton turns it back inside, Peacock then to Sutcliffe, great ball, wonderful try, was it? Did Delaney get that down, or
I think so.
Did he drop it? He's not handing it upstairs, he's convinced. Richard Silverwood. So Brett Delaney, his first try of the campaign, and he gets that try down, he gets the ball down, he gets the try awarded. Was it the right decision?
Now then, does Ablett lose the ball? He does. That should have been a knock-on. It's not seen by the officials. Definitely lost control of it. They've got away with it. Take nothing away from the pass. Short pass. They caught them out. Got it down. There's no doubt about the grounding, but Ablett certainly lost possession and not seen by the officials.
But Stuart, I don't think they could have gone back and reviewed that, could they? Or was that on the last play of the ball?
No, that was the play of the ball. The tackle before the play of the ball, before the last play of the ball.
So they couldn't have had to look at that anyway?
No, they couldn't go back to that.
I don't think we've given Liam Sutcliffe enough credit though, Steve-O, for the pass though, to split the defence the way he did. You said that the microscope's on him for his performance today. Well, in his first attacking play there, he's delivered a brilliant try pass. And if you press rewind on that try, I think you take it back to Zach Hardacre's kick return. He caught it and got them almost to the halfway line. And the worrying signs as that kick ricochets off the upright. Worrying signs are when Zach Hardacre almost gets to the halfway line, your team are under pressure in that set.
I agree, and when you think about it, it wasn't the best kick from Danny Brough.
Okay, Ablett loses the ball. They got to play on after that. They misnumbered. Leeds Rhinos had 4 players on the short side. And so when Ayton went onto the open side, Danny Brough, Jay Connor, they felt themselves stretched and they dived in to try and solve the problem. And you're absolutely right. Sutcliffe showed very calm nerves to pick the right pass at that time. But the reason the Huddersfield Giants defence was stretched is because the Giants got the numbering wrong on their own try line on the short side.
So we're all square here at the John Smith Stadium in Huddersfield. The Giants 6, Rhinos 6, and Cuthbertson again taking that ball forward, but only as far as Kopchak and Hubie, and there was a little bit of help there from Jack Hughes as well. Jamie Jones-Buchanan brings it forward. Ayton, ball into Peacock in centre field. Peacock struggling to get to his feet and get a quick play the ball in. Here's the try scorer again, Delaney.
Yeah, a lot quicker to play the ball. The Leeds now. They've obviously been working on that throughout this week.
Peacock finds Maguire. Maguire lays the pass off. Oh, obstruction. Obstruction decision. Not seen too many of them this year.
Well, Sutcliffe stayed in the line. That's the call on Silverwood. He kept a close eye on Sutcliffe as the play went away with Danny Maguire. Maguire stepped back into the position. You see Sutcliffe standing in the line, and it looks, or was it Jamie Jones? No, it seems to be Sutcliffe that he's called an obstruction on.
Well, they've had a slightly different interpretation this year, and we've seen very few penalties.
Well,
Well, they got a penalty. They didn't find touch, but they're going to get head and feet from the scrum from a knock on.
Yeah, he says he knocked it on. It was a great effort, wasn't it?
This is a guess. Look where it is when it hits the ball, and then you make a decision where you see where it lands.
Yeah,
but the Callum Watkins has knocked that forward. You think that's forward, Mike?
Yeah. The first one looked forward. It bounced back.
I think it comes forward off his hands and then bounces backwards.
Yeah.
I think that's what the officials will have looked at.
Well, Huddersfield will not be complaining about that. Here is Jake Connor, 10 metres out into centre field to Hubie, taking on the big men.
They've got the middle. Sorry, Eddie, they've got the numbers out wide, but they've filled in very quickly, Leeds.
Here is Brough. He gets a short ball away. Wardle again.
Short. Just.
And the referee agrees, says play the ball. Tackle number 3. That has come eventually to Scott Griggs. Oh, he's trapped his Griggs.
Well, there was no one there, no second phase.
Penalty to Huddersfield, they're offside, Leeds.
Well, they had about 4 or 5 to select from. And that's good refereeing by Silverwood. He's allowed them to play on.
On the goal line. Goal line, Jamie Jones.
Jamie Jones Buchanan was called out by the referee. He said get on the goal line. He wasn't, so he couldn't make the tackle. He has eventually. This is Brough. Brough. Oh, and Cudjoe went without the ball from Ellis's pass.
And that's a set pattern move. They've done it so often this season. You'll notice that Cudjoe, instead of running out wide, he cuts back inside. Just took his eyes slightly off the ball. Not happy. Every right to be very upset with that. All that pressure just wasted. Now, the important thing, can the Giants stop Leeds getting their forwards and getting into the Huddersfield half? If they can keep them down there, it'll build their confidence slightly.
Leeds beat the Huddersfield Giants in round 3 at Headingley in February, 28-24. Made it an horrific start to the season for the Giants that night.
Back to 6 now.
Free play here. 0 free play shouted by the referee.
Peacock goes down. That's the first. Singleton takes the ball forward and over halfway, and a shoulder charge.
Yeah. Well, the Huddersfield fans thought perhaps that he might have got him for the forward pass. It was 50-50. But I tell you what, Craig Kopchak is doing his coach no favours. That's the second silly penalty he's given away. First it was a high shot, then he puts the shoulder in.
So great opportunity here for Leeds in the shape of Jones Buchanan. And he goes down just 10 metres shy of the post. Maguire taking the responsibility on himself. Maguire, and he's held up by 4. He's short of the line as well, but only just centimetres in it. Ayton. Here's Peacock, he's dropped it. Flicks the ball with his foot to Ablett, but Huddersfield were not onside on their own goal line. Leeds penalty.
Get on the goal line, guys.
Huge let off that.
So here they come again with Delaney. Fed by Sutcliffe.
Goal line.
Tackled by Connor and Brough.
Go one.
Ayton gets the ball away. Singleton.
Can't get it down.
And he is held up over the line.
Connor did well. Hold on to the ball. Now they keep your eye on Zach Hardaker. There you see him right at the back. He'll come a few seconds after. Second phase.
Sutcliffe to Maguire. Trying to go in between Kopchak and Hughes. Ayton is waiting. Turns it into the centre of the field again to Jamie Peacock. Oh, good defence on their own goal line again. This is the best defence in Super League we're watching. It's the best attack in Super League we're watching. And Ayton fires a short pass into the middle, and he gets it down eventually. Ablett.
Great try. Great try. The pass from Ayton. He's gone upstairs. I don't know why.
Tackle 4. I've got to try. But I didn't quite see the grounding.
Well, Jake Connor came to the rescue of the Giants on 2 occasions with smothering tackles, but they could not stop Ablett. I think he's got this down okay.
Stewart.
He certainly doesn't get it down on the first spin. Does he keep possession of it? I think there's just about enough of his hand on there to award the try. His hand's still on top of it, so he's got downward pressure. He just has to retain possession on it. A little bit of a bobble, but it's onto his own body. Doesn't touch anybody else. And I think there's enough of his hand on that just to get down onto the ground, and that's downward pressure. That's a try.
Yeah, the thumb will give it to him, surely. This will be the TRY up on the screen.
And it is. Carl Ablett been in the centres for the last 3 matches. Stevie Ward, who has had an outstanding season for Leeds, he is out injured, so he's back in the second row where he played in the first 9. He got a try against Huddersfield in the round 3 win. He's got a try against Huddersfield here, and Sutcliffe is about to add the extras. This is bang in front of the sticks. This for 12-6 to the Rhinos. And 12-6 it is.
Well, Leeds have only had half a dozen play the balls close to Huddersfield's try line in that 10-metre strip short of it. It was a shoulder charge, that penalty that gave them the field position to get close to Huddersfield's line. And in half a dozen play the balls, they've converted 2 of those into tries. Obviously, Huddersfield have defended well. They saved one earlier, but you have to be very impressive, and you have to restrict the number of times you allow Leeds this close to your line, because they've got too many players who can crash over it.
Well, they're on course at the moment for yet another home and away Super League double over Huddersfield. They seem to have that each and every year. 9 of the first 10 that they played each other. If the Rhinos win tonight, it'll be their first Super League double against Huddersfield, though, since 2009.
You were complimenting them, Eddie, on their try-line defence, the Huddersfield Giants, and they were doing so well. Leeds Rhinos kept knocking on the door. And I think it was a lack of patience from Craig Hubie. John might have a look at it at half-time, but Hubie seemed to jump the line just a little bit in anticipation of a man in front of him getting the ball. Instead it went to Ablett. Hubie had to turn in and make the tackle, and he was unable to prevent Ablett from going over and grounding the ball. Patience in defence, the key.
And that's a good kick and chase. Even though it was right in the corner, it was taken by the fullback Scott Griggs on the fall, but you could see that Griggs had to run backwards. A little bit different from the one that Zach Hardacre took. He took it on the run. And made very good ground forward.
2-year deal agreed yesterday. He is here probably for the remainder of his career, is Earl Crabtree, and he said in the interview yesterday he has signed to win things, to win trophies. Jack Hughes. Huddersfield crowd getting on the back of Richard Silverwood about something or other. The ball goes high off the boot of Jamie Ellis.
Well, they're claiming that the Leeds are well and truly offside.
Another good kick return by Hardacre, this.
Yeah, you can't afford to allow him to do that. That was real tiptoe through the tulips. That was good work. And the guy that's running in, you know, I love to see the wingers, centres get through a lot of hard work, take a responsibility, take it away from the forwards.
They're claiming a forward pass, the Huddersfield fans. That ball bounces on its way to Ash Handley. He's got Crabtree in front of him, he's got Cudjoe in front of him, and he goes down under the challenge on the 5th tackle. So last one coming up here for the Rhinos. This will go high off the boot of Maguire, and it does.
Oh boy, and that has got some height. Oh, good take.
Great take.
Didn't he claim that well?
He had to as well, under a lot of pressure from his opposite number, Hardacre. You know, it's a different side, this Leeds outfit, from last week, and mainly due to the fact that they're playing the ball a lot quicker. And Paul Ayton, who was, let's say, he was sluggish last week, is on fire tonight.
Eddie, it was an absolutely brilliant kick. Danny Maguire took quite a bit of spin off the ball. It means it floats through the air, and as it comes down, it moves significantly. Scott Griggs wasn't fooled by it, and at the last minute adjusted his body and took an excellent take.
Here goes Jermaine McGilvray down this right-hand side, but very well watched by Joel Moon. Cudjoe at dummy half. Infield it comes to Danny Brough, left-footed. And he wasn't happy with the challenge that came in on him, Danny Brough, and there's a bit of argy-bargy. And the referee, I think, has agreed it was a late challenge. Oh, no, it's a knock-on.
Well, it's not the first time Brett Delaney has left Danny Brough on the ground. They had a little bit of a wrestle early on in the game. Delaney's words are obviously get into Danny Brough, and here we see Hardacre, in the attempts to field Danny Brough's kick, adjudged to have knocked the ball on. Now here we go. He would say he's committed, and Danny Brough off balance goes. It probably looks a lot worse than it is, but Brough took exception to that. Probably the jersey tug as well. Little bit of a shove. And now Brett Delaney's got to defend, and Danny Brough has got brilliant attacking position to show his full wares.
Well, I've got possession, and that's the most important thing. Hardacre deemed to have knocked on. He looked bemused.
Not that long ago, the right centre for Huddersfield, Leroy Cudjoe, used to be an England player. Last season his form was poor. I've come to this game here with Jamie Ellis clutch through them to see whether he can reassert himself as one of the best centres in this comp. Here's a great chance to show us.
And Connor gets the pass away to Michael Lawrence underneath the sticks. He will play the ball, and this is Danny Brough, and the ball goes out wide, and Callum Watkins got a fingertip to it and just couldn't take the ball in. Another set of 6 coming at the Leeds defence.
Try saver though. You could see there.
You're never going to get it, but there's an argument to say that he's deliberately knocked that on. Now, Stuart, I'm not going to put you under pressure and say that, is it a deliberate knock on, is it a penalty, but Callum Watkins did what he had to do to stop his team conceding a try.
Well, the amount of times you actually intercept and go the full length, why would you stop them trying to do that?
Exactly. He will say it was never a deliberate knock-on. He said he was going for the interception.
Well, I'm still waiting to see one, Eddie, and I've been involved in this game for a long, long time. I don't know why we keep talking about it, because the officials just ignore it.
Here's Brough again. He thought about another long pass wide because Murphy was hugging the touchline.
There's nobody coming short.
Wardle has. Wardle keeps going.
Jimmy, release! Stand back!
Tackling by Kinehorst. Oh, what a mess. What a mess at dummy half. Kyle Ward with an error.
And he knows it too, in a good position.
And all that pressure just dissipates.
Well, if you see the replay, how many Leeds players are onside? I'll tell you, none. Every single one of them should have been behind that white line.
Just check to see has this gone forward in any way. Continuously goes backwards, in my opinion.
Well, we had a disagreement on the field in that Tussage at the side was calling that okay, and the referee disagreed and gave it as a knock-on.
And 7 Leeds players, not one, were back the required amount.
Well, Rhinos won't be arguing with that. Huddersfield will, of course. This is Ablett.
Well,
by Lawrence.
Sorry, Eddie, but Kopchak has to just slow himself down a little bit. He went for another big hit there. Luckily, he missed. But he's utilising the shoulder. He's already been penalised twice.
Well, they're watching him pretty closely, aren't they, Brad Singleton? And they're watching this fellow, Liam Sutcliffe. He gets the ball away to Jones Buchanan, who in turn finds Peacock. He finds Ablett. Here comes Ash Handley.
Nice step. He knew he couldn't go on the outside. He would have gone in the whitewash.
Now it is Hardacre. Hardacre to Sutcliffe. Stepping run from Sutcliffe. Thought about the offload. Gets the offload away to Maguire. Still the last tackle this. Maguire's backed himself. Cudjoe.
Boy, he was lucky, Cudjoe.
He's knocked it on, I think. He has knocked it on.
Well, he's trying to claim that he went behind him, but that was a beautiful kick through. Well, I think that went backwards.
Liam Sutcliffe did well, didn't he, earlier this, Steve-O, to keep the ball alive in the tackle. That offload was one of his, and then onto his half-back partner, Danny Maguire, with a gobble through. Look at that. That's brilliant play from the standoff.
You're right.
Finding Maguire.
You're right, Phil. And you know you've got to take your hat off in regards to Brian McDermott, saying it was all about the omission of Sinfield, but he's given this young kid the confidence, and he's showing it.
Here's Hardacre. Oh, and he tried to stretch the arm out.
Oh, Scott Griggs, what a wonderful effort.
Well, it had to be, Steve-O, because they got it so badly wrong. Until this last bit of defence from Griggs, restraining Hardacre, preventing him from grounding the ball, but they were horrible in their positioning leading up to that.
Here's Peacock again, as Leeds take the ball back to the 10-metre line. The tackle count continues, that's 2. Ayton switches the direction of the play. Here's Joel Moon, trying to take on them all, and does, and scores a great try, Joel Moon. He's not given this one either.
He's going to try. make sure there's no obstruction.
Same side of the field, Eddie, same defenders. They solved it the first time, but Leeds Rhinos sniffed something and went straight back there with one of the best attacking players in Joel Moon. Turn-up play from Jamie Jones-Buchanan. Get the ball into Moon's hands, give him early ball. He's got Leroy Cudjoe in front of him.
Well, what are they looking at here, Stuart? Is a possible obstruction, I think.
Obstruction, I think it's involving Carl Ablett. It's just as the ball's moved across. So where does Ablett actually go? Does he stay in the line? Well, I think he stops. I think there's more a case of the defender keeping hold of him in that case. We've still got 2 and 2 on the outside. Ablett's there. Does the defender grab him? I think he does.
The defender's made a decision. The defender's now got time. He's now got time to get up and close that gap. Yeah, I think this is the right decision. Give a try. What a dangerous player Joel Moon is.
Yes, he is. It's going to be given this. 12 months ago, that might have been turned down. Very easily would that have been turned down, but they've sorted out the interpretation of the obstruction rule, and Joel Moon has claimed his 3rd try of the season on his 70th Leeds appearance, by the way.
That's the first chance, Steve-O, to go close. Zach Hardacre, he doesn't get over on that occasion, but the Rhinos, they go back again.
And it was good work. Again, you see Paul Ayton switch of play, but I'm not so sure that Leroy Cudjoe will get a pat on his back from his coach, Paul Anderson. Talk about an experienced player being set up, back on the inside, and then again. Oh, that's poor. Take nothing away from Moon. His step was good.
Well, 2 from 2 tonight, albeit 1 in off the post. Sutcliffe here. He makes it 3 from 3, and he makes it Huddersfield 6, the Leeds Rhinos 18.
You got to take your hat off for Brian McDermott, because he has turned this Leeds outfit around in the space of a week, and he knows it. And the quality of the hook of Paul Ayton, who was nowhere to be seen last week. He really was off the boil, but the switch of play, they've been working hard on set patterns, and it's just absolutely cutting this Giants defence apart. Well, they've been boasting about it, Eddie, about the Giants defence, but I'm afraid it's falling apart tonight.
Yes, it is. They are up against, as I said earlier, the best attack thus far in Super League in 2015. And Brian McDermott, his decision, the big decision to leave Kevin Sinfield out at the start of the match, has been totally vindicated in the opening half hour here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thus far, Eddie, the Huddersfield Giants are absolutely in this game. They've had plenty of chances close to the Leeds Rhinos line and could easily be level in this game. Rhinos have taken their chances when they've come. Giants haven't, but we've got 50 minutes to go still in this game, 48 minutes to go. And the Giants have a huge chance.
And Maguire just drills that ball all on the ground and finds touch. Not taking any chances.
And when you've got a 12-point lead, Eddie, this is where you need the experience. And obviously Danny Maguire, he's the captain tonight, has been, of course, when Sinfield was out injured. And the one thing I've seen the difference between Maguire tonight and in the past couple of games, if things start going wrong with Danny Maguire, he starts losing control. He starts nattering and chattering to the official, complaining all the time, instead of getting on with his job. That's what he's good at. Experience, kicking to touch.
7 minutes to the half-time break. Nice run from Cruz Leeming, ex-England Academy international hooker. And the girl goes down right on the halfway line. Leeming is in there again, gets the ball away to Brough, back on the inside to Griggs. They put another pass down. It's a free play.
Oh, ho, ho. Jake Connors hit Danny Maguire with everything he had there. Lucky he got that tackle right, because he flew in as Maguire was stationary on the ground. We'll see that Maguire scooped the ball up, and Jake Connor comes flying in. Executed his tackle well.
4 on Callum Watkins, 3 in the end, bring him down. Rob Burrow is on. Hardacre slips the pass back on the inside to Singleton. 10 metres inside the Huddersfield half. He will play the ball to Burrow. Burrow then finds Sutcliffe, Maguire and Ablett.
The field positioning of Leeds tonight is outstanding.
And what a wonderful job Burrow does as well when he he comes off the bench. Someone else who's had to reinvent himself to a large extent in 2015. Great hands to Moon, little kick through, but Griggs was there fortunately. Got a foot to it, he kicked it out, but more pressure on the Giants line.
He's having a wow of the game, isn't he? The same to Joel Moon. He's quite adept at putting the kick through. Okay, the fullback was a little bit too smart for him, but they can turn the tourniquet here. Can the Rhinos?
Joel Moon was on the wing against his former club Salford recently, back in the centres in a try against St Helens 2 weeks ago. Hardaker gets away from one. That was Connor, can't get away from Danny Brough.
The Giants having a bit of a problem in regards to where you need to tackle, and it's round the legs. Far too many of them going too high.
Delaney. Burrow gets the ball to Sutcliffe. Short pass from him then to Singleton.
Release. Wait for the goal call. 3.
And in the end, Singleton gets to his feet. Will play it to Burrow. And that's Sutcliffe. Long pass. Kinehorse. Great ball. Watkins. What a try.
No doubt about that one. He'll give this.
Callum Watkins, his 80th try in Leeds colours for the England international. That was tremendous. And the Leeds fans who've travelled here tonight, delighted with what they're seeing. This is such a different side from the one we saw last week against Warrington. It's back to the game against St Helens this 2 weeks ago.
Well, quick hands got them in that position. And you could see there that it came out of the line. You can't afford to do that. Watch Danny Brough coming on the angle and leaves an awful gap. That was him just on your right of the screen. Had the overlap. The finish was superb. Wonderful. Watch for number 6. See you later, Danny. Can't afford to do that. The winger had to go and take him. It left him the opportunity.
Well, I sound like I'm the #1 member of the Liam Sutcliffe fan club at the moment, but that left-to-right pass was absolutely brilliant. You're right, Eddie. That was that good a try that potentially could demoralise the side. And I wonder now, Huddersfield, they've been in this situation before against Leeds, trailing by a lot of points and fighting their way back. But the quality, the accuracy, Leeds' defensive work to force possession up on the halfway line, 4 men in the tackle, was very impressive. They've got the ball back, and then, boy, they're clinical, aren't they, when they get close to scoring.
They are. Well, we will see just how good a goal kicker this young man is if he kicks this. He's just pushed it in front of the post. That's a shame for him personally, but it's a relief for Huddersfield. But the scoreline won't be. Look at that. Huddersfield 6, Leeds 22. And when you think about it, you know, they were 6-0 up at one stage, 22 unanswered points.
It's great vision and accuracy there to deliver that pass as Brough shoots up, finding the man Kinehorse and knowing that Watkins, well, give him the chance, and it makes it 4 points.
Well, third start in a row at standoff for Liam Sutcliffe. The performance of his life against St Helens, the performance of the season for Leeds at St Helens, and they are replicating that in the opening half here tonight. They're very good.
Eddie, I mentioned it before the kickoff in regards to the fact, you know, why would he leave Sinfield out? And the reason I've always said is that many moons ago, Leeds fans were saying, why don't they give the youngsters a chance? Well, Brian McDermott is doing that. The confidence that he is showing from the coach to his players has certainly shown. And what about the offload there from Cuthbertson?
Here he goes again. That pass hit the ground.
Play on.
It came off the feet of Hardaker, and he told Watkins to go for it. Burrow and Maguire playing with such pace. That's not the best pass, but it finds its way to Moon. Oh, Cudjoe has left. That's not the best pass back inside from Moon, but it goes to Ablett. And they seem they can make mistakes, Leeds, and yet they can still come up with possession here.
Listen, Eddie, when you've got 22 points on the board and your opposition's only got 6, you're confident. It doesn't matter, you get to it. Might be a little bit too long. No, it's perfect.
Griggs with a lot of work to do.
I don't think there are any teams in Super League who can really compete with Leeds when it comes to freestyling. When the ball's just free and everyone goes with whatever comes instinctively to them, they're prepared to find the man, twist and turn in the tackle, throw the passes. They are brilliant to watch so far this year. Can they continue in the second half of the season? They did this last year, started the season so well and then faded in the second half. but at present, they're the best team to watch and they're the hardest team to beat.
Here come Huddersfield. What would they give for a try up to half-time, just to give them something extra to build on in that dressing room for Paul Anderson?
He knows it, though. He knows that they have not taken control with the big forwards. Neat little chip over, that'll be a penalty, surely.
Yes, it is. It was a lovely little chip through by Danny Brough. He went for it himself. He was sandwiched between two. No question there. Delaney got to him.
And Jones Buchanan certainly didn't help.
Kick for goal, Mike. I'm serious.
Yeah, they're going to.
There's only seconds left. You may as well. I think he's already sent the message down.
I wonder what he'll be saying in the dressing room in a few moments' time.
It won't be sweet and it won't be neat.
But it
and
started
I would say
well
it's a
for
bit,
them.
I think it'll be a bit aggressive.
Started really well for them. Then Leeds got absolutely into the swing of it.
Well, they were allowed to, mainly due to the fact, and Paul Anderson is an experienced coach to know that they brought on Craig Kopchak and gave away 2 silly penalties, 2 tries. Leeds are on their way when you get 2 tries from 2 penalties like that.
So Danny Brough here to reduce the deficit, only by 2, but that would do for them. And he has managed to do that with a kick, Danny Brough. So 22 points to 8 to Brian McDermott's Leeds Rhinos at the half-time interval. It started so well for the Giants. A Wardle try in the 4th minute. Brough improved 6-0, but then Leeds got into their stride. Quarter of an hour Delaney, 22 minutes Ablett, 30 minutes Moon, 36 minutes Watkins. Sutcliffe added 3 of the conversions. 22 points to 8, courtesy of the Danny Brough penalty, right on the stroke of half-time. Entertaining first half, particularly if you're a Leeds fan. Well, there's a huge night of live pay-per-view boxing coming up this Saturday. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao battle it out at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. For Connected Sky customers, the easiest way to book Mayweather against Pacquiao is with your remote control. Simply press Box Office and navigate to the Sports tab, then select the fight. Booking with your remote's the only way to add the event to your Sky planner, and you'll then only be charged if you watch it. Cable customers, you should contact your operator. Half-time here in Huddersfield. The Giants, who've won 2 in a row, they're trailing to the Leeds Rhinos, the league leaders, by 22 points to 8 at half-time. A rip-roaring half from Leeds after they went 6-0 down in the opening 5 minutes, and Paul Anderson with a little bit of work to do, particularly John and Brian from a Rhinos perspective.
Yeah, you would imagine Brian McDermott is sitting very comfortably in that dressing room. Just before we go any further, Pacquiao or Mayweather?
Mayweather, points as well.
Okay, it's the same man that picked the Huddersfield Giants to win this game. You could say that John Wells would have got off to the best possible start. 3 minutes in, Joe Wardle crosses after a Danny Brough break. Brough showing us it's not just his kicking game, John, his running game and his passing game are both sensational.
A couple of things to look at in this. It's important to know why that gap was there that Danny Brough stepped through. So I'll take you to the tackle before, and it's Craig Hubie who comes in, takes 3 people. Now, at this point, there's 3 people in the tackle. I would suggest that once Craig Hubie goes to ground here, and Jamie Jones Buchanan, who is on the left-hand side of your screen there, I'll just pick him out for you here. He actually gets back on rather than now clearing out and getting himself back in the defensive line to this sort of area. He actually gets back on. Watch him closely. Gets back on there, and now have a look down at the defensive line here and have a look at Brett Delaney screaming. I'll leave it on there while we just show him for a second. He's desperate for someone on the inside of him, doesn't get it, and that's exactly where Danny Brough goes. And you've got to say that's a decision from Jamie Jones Buchanan to go back on when he's clearly now, he wasn't in charge of the ball, he wasn't round the legs, he wasn't slowing the tackle down. That's where you've got to get back, and that was an easy try in the end. Great ball as well from Danny Brough to Wardle.
Brilliant break, brilliant ball. 6-0 to the Huddersfield Giants, and for the next 9 minutes or so, the Giants seem to be doing everything well, everything you described before the game, kicking well and chasing particularly well.
This is what we spoke about, wasn't it? And this is why they weren't being panicked and forced into try saving tackles in the last few games, because the kicks were good, the chase was good, and it had all the hallmarks in the opening 10, 12 minutes that this game was going to be the same. But then a bit of Leeds pressure and restricting Huddersfield's metres, and a poor kick comes. Now look at the difference here. Zach Hardaker picks the ball up, makes an easy 20, 25 metres. You fast forward to the end of that set, and that's where you get the problems. Now Huddersfield are on goal line defence, and it's a different story altogether. They're being challenged right across the park again. And
we see the right-hand side of the Huddersfield Giants defence attacked here. Why were the left-hand side so badly short, John?
So it's this area here we're talking about. 4 players, they've got the numbers wrong, and Scott Griggs, who is the fullback, really has to take ultimate responsibility for that. He's the man who should be shepherding and herding the players around. So if you've got 4 on the short side against 2, you've got an awful lot of players to cover on the long side, and you can see the gaps already in this sort of area here. That's not where they try to score, but you know, if you're on goal line defence and you're leaving that sort of gaps, you'd be very, very nervous.
You're panicking out
and
there.
you can see why that up and in movement from Jake Connor opens everything up. And that's a problem they really need to fix, because Leeds don't look like they're going to slow up all.
We went into the game saying this was the Huddersfield Giants was the best defensive side in Super League as measured by points conceded. They conceded the fewest points. And you talked about some of the reasons why they didn't have to defend on the goal line, because they were so disciplined in everything they did. They completed high, they didn't make many errors, and they didn't give away penalties. They did all that in the first half.
Yeah, the period of self-destruction, I think, led from Craig Kopchak, giving away a series of penalties and put themselves under all sorts of pressure. Leeds haven't had to work incredibly hard for any of this, the field position anyway. But I'll just show you, this is Scott Griggs. He's broken from the loose forward position, the scrum. Fullback's often sat there. Here's why. Try saving tackle, fullback on fullback. Superb piece of defensive work from Scott Griggs. He's a strong man, he's Zach Hardaker. That's well worked, really well worked. Now a bit of poor stuff. At first instance, and you'll look at Jamie Ellis here, and you'll look at this movement, and you'll go, he's made a wrong read there, he's come in. But you look at the work, and I'll just take this back just ever so slightly, and you look at the work here from Jamie Jones-Buchanan. So I'll highlight him for you here, and then I'll run it on. So Jamie Jones-Buchanan is talking directly to Carl Ablett, and here's what he's saying. Get yourself in position, make yourself an accountable player for a defensive read. And then, of course, Jamie Ellis, he has to account for him. He makes the read, he sinks in on him, and that leaves Joel Moon one-on-one with Leroy Cudjoe. The try's a formality after that.
That came after the Carl Ablett try. That Joel Moon try made it 18 points to 6. Then a Callum Watkins try, 22 points to 6. And a very late Danny Brough penalty. 8 points to the Huddersfield Giants, 22 to the Leeds Rhinos. Huge amount for the Huddersfield Giants to do in this second half. But as Phil Clark-Eddy said before the game, when these two meet, it's an 80-minute game.
It is, Brian, and they're halfway to paradise, the Leeds Rhinos, aren't they? Further evidence of the gathering momentum being made by the Sky Try initiative that we featured on Boots and All last night now. The idea is to get hundreds of thousands more people playing the game in the coming years. And here during half-time, there are 56 girls from 4 different West Yorkshire schools playing on this pitch. And they're all wearing their Sky Try T-shirts and are joined out there by their teachers as well. Well, Huddersfield need to try and score a try in the second half pretty early to get back into this match. The second half's on its way. At the minute, the Rhinos have got this match well and truly in their pocket. Super League Friday tomorrow comes from the DW Stadium in Wigan. The Wigan Warriors against Hull Kingston Rovers. And you can find us at 7:30 on Sky Sports 3. About to get the second half underway here, and Huddersfield with a lot of work to do. They're trailing 22 points to 8, and we are underway with the kick-off. And underneath it is Zach Hardaker.
It's a false start. Referee hadn't blown his whistle, so we have to come back.
Oh, okay. I thought I hadn't heard anything. They were just a little bit premature then, the Huddersfield Giants. That maybe shows how keen they are to get into this second half.
Tell you what, Eddie. They need to improve. It was not a great showing in the first stanza. And Anderson, the coach, would have not been impressed, especially with all this talk over the last 4 or 5 weeks in regards to the Giants' defence. I mean, they've been all at sea. They really have been going far too high, and also giving away far too many penalties.
Well, it's a very big 20 minutes or so coming up for the Huddersfield Giants. You feel they have to score first in this second half if they're to get back into this match. And Burrow at dummy half gets the ball away.
And the Giants have got to make sure that Leeds don't control a game, in which they did with considerable ease during that first 40. Let's see where the kick's going to go.
Another great scampering run from Burrow. It does go high off Maguire, but straight up in the air almost, and claimed by Aaron Murphy. But look at that chase from Leeds. How enthusiastic were they? Bricks. There's the ball off. The middle goes at McGilvray.
To be fair to Leeds, they were put under a lot of pressure as well arriving here. You know, all the controversy in regards to the omission of Kevin Sinfield and how they got bashed up last week against Warrington. They didn't perform at all well. They weren't allowed to perform. Warrington was so good.
Yes, they were, and I think the controversy probably was all observers from outside the camp. Within the camp, I'm sure they were very calm and collected and composed about the Kevin Sinfield business. And they've certainly not shown any signs of panic out there tonight, and that's Ash Handley.
And also, I'd like to point out that, you know, there's one man that will take it on the chin as well. He's an understanding guy, is Kevin Sinfield. He knows he still has a job to do at the club.
I heard he handed in a transfer request, Steve, just before kickoff.
And that for all the people who've just had a... Oh, hang on, here goes Burrow. Burrow goes down and he gets the pass away to Ablett. Well, they were streaming back to try and get him down, the Huddersfield defenders then. Here he goes again. Little chip into the corner. Now, how will this kick end up? It is dead in goal.
But the option was good. A little break. And again, you see quite clearly, far too many of these Giants are Giants and not getting low.
That's a telling stat there you might have just seen on your screen. 6 breaks to just 1. And that's perhaps a problem for Huddersfield, not just tonight, Eddie, but for the remainder of the season. They made just 1 break in the first half, as we see them get a penalty here. 1 break made by Danny Brough. I don't think they have enough line breakers. In fact, they've made the fewest breaks so far this season of any team in Super League. Hull, who struggled to score, have made more breaks than the Giants. And in addition to Danny Brough, they need 1 or 2 more players who can find a way through the line, as Rob Burrow just demonstrated for the Rhinos.
And you know, Phil, it really surprised me, the fact that evidently Paul Anderson is resting at Robinson, and also they got rid of Sean Lund.
He's actually, Luke Robinson's picked up a nerve injury in the back of his neck, so
I thought he was being rested.
He was touch and go, Steve-O. He was touch and go for the game, but they decided that medically they shouldn't pick him.
No, the word yesterday was he was being rested, but
they might not want us to know what Brian's just told us.
No, exactly. He's got his ear to the ground, Brian Carney. That's why he comes up with the Kevin Sinfield transfer.
He told me himself before the game.
Yeah, I bet he did. Leeming is the dummy half. And he finds the support runner, who is Griggs in the end.
They need to get over and score a try. They've got to have something to lift the spirits. The fans are trying their damnedest.
High kick wide. It comes from Jamie Ellis, but far too deep. And Watkins just took that so easily. Right, half-time news, and on the touchline tonight for us is Angela Powers.
Thanks, Eddie. It was a cool, calm and concise half-time talk by the Huddersfield coach Paul Anderson. Despite the scoreline as it stands at the moment, his talk was really all about changing their attitude. They'd let Leeds they got 6 points up against Leeds, but let them get a grip of the game. So he's asking for a bit more honesty in their play and a genuine attitude from the Giants. As you can imagine, the Leeds camp are much happier with their first half performance. Brian McDermott, the coach, said the game isn't won, and they've really got to be very respectful of this Huddersfield team, because he knows they'll come up a lot better in this second half. They really will push it to the Leeds Rhinos.
And here is a problem for Leeds. This is Brett Delaney. He's not got up after this tackle.
Might have been a twist of the knee, perhaps. He really fell awkward there, and you see it doubled up.
When he retires from rugby league, Brett Delaney, I'm not sure how much of him will be left. He throws everything into every game he plays. He's been so impressive since he moved over from the Gold Coast Titans. He was a centre, he's moved into the second row, and I think he's been brilliant for the Leeds Rhinos in his time over here in the Super League competition. We'll see here, he's twisted in the tackle by Leroy Cudjoe.
It's a whiplash in the back of his head, whacks the ground, doesn't it? See as he went to ground it. Probably a neck injury. The doctor and physio just checking to see he's okay.
It'd take a lot for him to leave the field. He does pour everything into every game. I'd imagine the Leeds Rhinos would see him as one of those players you'd love to see beside you in the changing rooms, and certainly in the defensive line. When the going gets tough, Brett Delaney will put his hand up.
Well, they're going to take him off and assess him and make sure there isn't a major problem with the concussion, which means a quick return to action start of this second half for Jamie Jones-Buchanan.
Oh, great option.
Oh, a horrible bounce as well. Griggs did well under pressure from Hardacre.
Tremendous effort there from Danny Maguire. Could see no one was at home. Forced them back, and now with their defence, it's going to be difficult for the Giants to get in the opposition half.
Yes, it's tenacious, this, from Leeds tonight. Remember, Hall, Briscoe, Ward, Luluai, and now Sinfield missing this evening. Some frontline players there, but haven't the likes of... well, Kinehorst has shown up well in that first half. Sutcliffe. Cuthbertson does his stuff each and every week. Delaney, as we've mentioned. Singleton, who's come off the bench. And Huddersfield with a kick downfield and straight into the arms of Hardacre again. Now Watkins.
Well, the kicking game, it wasn't the best from Jamie Ellis then. And you can see that Leeds very, very close to the halfway line. They've just controlled their position and field position tonight.
Kinehorst to his feet, plays it to Burrow. Here comes Jamie Peacock. Through another 46 minutes of pain and torture for the cause, but well, he looks fit as a flea, doesn't he, Jamie Peacock, at 37 years young.
I think he's got the chronological age of somebody who's 37, Eddie, but the physical one of somebody who's 27, because his performances and his stats every week belie that age. I think we'd have to check his birth certificate. It doesn't quite seem right.
Now this is a chance for the Giants, because Leeds have popped up possession, and that's Jack Hughes, and that's a penalty because that ball was stolen.
Leroy Cudjoe forcing Leeds Rhinos into the air. This is the referee's decision that Moon has stripped that ball. But Leroy Cudjoe just previously had made a great defensive read, came in off the line, shut down the Leeds Rhinos attack, and his efforts in defence have found his team now with the ball in attack. And I think, Eddie, this is a period of time in the next 5 or so minutes that the Huddersfield Giants need to post points, make sure they don't concede any, and get themselves back into this game.
3 penalties in a row you might just have seen going the Giants' way, and that's Kopchak with the first drive to within 8 metres of the line. Cruz Leeming with a pass, and he gets it away to Michael Lawrence.
Good work by the youngster Leeming.
Now Brough with a long ball to Jamie Ellis, but nowhere forward for him to go with tackling like that. Leeming once again. Brough gets the pass away. He almost got it round the corner, did Michael Lawrence. Brough again, flat pass. No way through for Kopchak. Scrambling, swarming Leeds defence. Leeming on the last to Brough. Brough then. And that's knocked down again, this time by Ash Handley. It's going to be a knock on. It's going to be head and feed to the Giants.
Well, they had a 3-on-1 there. He did well, did Handley. You can see there's 2 outside him. He did very well. Good positional play by him. Sometimes you've got no option but to take a gamble, and he certainly paid off then. Okay. He's given the Giants another opportunity.
5 tries for Handley in a 3-game spell. He came up with a blank last week against Warrington. This is Cudjoe.
I've been disappointed the way that the Giants, they've not utilised second phase play. We've hardly seen Scott Griggs chiming in.
Here's Crabtree.
They just look a little bit lost at the moment, just trying to use sheer power to get over rather than skill factor.
Leeming off the ground finds Brough. Brough then just lets the ball go to Lawrence. He was almost through, and Leeds are caught offside on their own line.
Quick tap.
He wanted a quick tap, but the referee tells him to hang on. And here they come now with Kopczak. Well, they must score here, Huddersfield, really. You feel to have any chance of getting back into this match. Leeming is scheming there at dummy half. Goes wide and right. Ellis, Grix.
High shot from Moon. More of a grab than a swinging arm.
Kopczak found its way to him in the end.
Great defence though by Leeds. They all came out in unison. No one came out of the line.
Leeming again. Here is Brough. Dropped the shoulder. Brough back on the inside. Harassing defence though by Leeds. Tremendous stuff. Leeming again. Wardle gets the pass away. Connor. And Connor just dumps it down to Brough. Brough keeps the movement going to Crabtree. And Crabtree tries to shake them off again and does this time. And does again. Big 3 efforts from El Crabtree.
And not a bad quick play ball either.
Brough with a kick to the corner, looking for the big man. It's knocked back by Hanley and palmed dead by Moon. Better from Huddersfield.
Yeah, a lot more excitement, a lot more adventure as well. Neat little kick there. Hanley couldn't handle it. Knocked it back in the end. Moon came to the rescue. He's had a big game as a centre, Joel Moon.
Well, coaches teach the players to build pressure. We've seen a classic example of that in the last couple of minutes. But the thing you need to do after that is turn it into points. Here's a great opportunity now for Huddersfield with a sustained period of possession. What they do at the end of it, need some more points on the scoreboard.
Grix will set them going again with Jermaine McGilvray. Good tackle by Moon. Cudjoe. Stuttering run before Peacock closes in. Bit of help there from Rob Mulhern as well.
You see, the inside pass there from Danny Brough was to a man that was virtually stood still. You know, you've got to be coming and running onto the ball to cause any problems with any defence. And it's pretty good Leeds at the moment.
Leeming once again. Here comes Crabtree. Crowd lift whenever he gets hold of the ball. This is the last one for Leeds. Brough with the ball. Grix. Grix gets it away to Ellis. Ellis round the back. And Lawrence will take it forward, but it all comes to nothing.
It's a bad set in attack. I'd like to have seen Crabtree pass the ball to Kopczak on that occasion. Kopczak just outside Crabtree on his right-hand side. He would have been running at a smaller man at full tilt. Crabtree decided to hold on. Two of them now have got to turn around and defend. It was a poor attacking set. With players like Jamie Ellis out on the field, and in particular Danny Brough, the Giants need to come up with something so much better than that if they're to get themselves back in.
And they're trying to take some weight off his forwards. Burrow. The ball away to Watkins again, this time in centre field. He's drifted it off the flank.
Well, the real reason why Leeds are so sharp is that, first of all, they had Paul Ayton out there, then they bring on Rob Burrow. And quite frankly, both of them have overshadowed Kyle Wood and Jamie Ellis, who's been working in that dummy half position.
Solid run from Mulhern, but Leeds are at the 5th tackle. And again, Brough gets the ball away. That was play, that wasn't it, by the Huddersfield man. He advanced towards the ball.
I think he's getting a little bit of a talk to the touch judge to find out.
Well, it certainly looked like he went towards the ball, and the ball certainly hit him. If you're running in the path of the ball, then it would be classed as a charge down.
Let's have a look. Looking for a play.
He just wants the video referees to have a little look, because neither the touch judge or Richard Silverwood himself are convinced about this.
Crabtree's turned his back.
Yeah. I think he's probably far enough away for that not to be classed. He's stopped his advance and turned his back, so I think that'll be classed as not played at.
So it's just a straight turnover, and Huddersfield get the ball. They've been relieved about that. So here comes McGilvray again. Leeming and Crabtree.
And again, the Giants struggling to get over the advantage. Look at this Leeds defence. It is solid. They're coming in as a unit. The most important factor is that someone's going down for the legs. Well, it's stopping the offload.
Yes, Crabtree can't get that ball away either. That's 4 gone. Only made 17 metres ground. Will they make a bit more here with Griggs, who gets it wide to Cudjoe? He dumps it into the arms of Scott Griggs again. Crabtree, but it was a standing start for the big man.
They're not running onto the ball. They've lost all their confidence. And the point I was making in regards to the fact that the likes of Paul Ayton and Rob Barrow have taken control out there, it surprised me that Sean Lunt left this club. Sold. I can't believe the quality player like that.
Huddersfield player was knocked back, onside.
Shouldn't really get 2 chances. Here's an optional kick to restart. Danny Bruff's attempted to find the sideline, and it doesn't look like it will. And after a pretty impressive 13 or 14 minutes here for Huddersfield, McGilvery's got a chance here now to kick it forward. Danny Maguire, sorry, he made the kick. McGilvery's got to go forward. This is it now. This is it for Huddersfield.
Well, that was a much better run, and a bit of a mistake from Danny Maguire. Michael Lawrence takes over, gets them to within 20 metres of the line. Leeming gets a short ball and a sharp pass to Kopchak. He went without it.
Knock on.
Great tackle by Rob Mulhern. Brilliant. He put a big one on Crabtree earlier, and he's pulled off a sensational play there. With the tide coming in and his team under pressure, just about hits Kopchak and the ball comes free. That's a turning point in this second half.
It was 1-on-1, and it's deemed not to have gone forward. And he's got it right, it's tracked him, but was that a knock-on? Off the hand on the floor. Very close indeed.
Eddie, if the Huddersfield Giants are going to get anything out of this game, it's going to come down to Danny Bruff. He's a player that likes the responsibility as the sole ball player at times, and certainly the sole kicker at times. It's a disproportionate kicking game they have. It all goes down onto him, and I think he's happy to wear that mantle. Well, if it is, he's got to stand up now. Not talking to the referee, but encouraging his players and spending the remaining time on this clock getting his team back in. Joe Wardle now giving away a penalty for a dissent.
Silly play there.
He applauded the referee's decision, Joe Wardle,
You can't
with
do
a
it.
touch of irony.
Okay, you lose every time.
Well, the irony is he's given Leeds another 20, 30 metres downfield. There's one thing in rugby league you will never, ever get away with, and that's beating the man with a whistle.
So here come Leeds again. In the middle of the field, midway inside the Huddersfield half. Another really dangerous period coming up for the Giants here. Ayton gets it to the left-hand side to Maguire. Short ball then from him to Ablett. The difference between the two sides is the short passes from Leeds are sticking. The ones that are fired by Huddersfield are going to ground on each and every opportunity. Here is Brad Singleton now.
But look at Leeds, they'll run onto the ball. I'm afraid Huddersfield, they're getting the ball standing still.
Ayton gets the ball away again. Hardacre taking it forward into heavy traffic. Down he goes. This is the last one. And Brett Delaney will not return tonight. The medics have decided. So he's failed the tests. That's a nice kick under the sticks. Just a little bit too long.
Yeah, a bit disappointed Brian McDermott there. They're just a little bit shaken up on that. Quite a few of them are offside.
And he wasn't Mulhern. He was not onside.
Either way, he's had a second go at him. Giving it away. Getting a little bit scrappy at the moment. Good work by Danny Bruff. And you can see that Singleton made no attempt to get back, and a second go at him. Well, there's still plenty of time. It's just a matter of whether Huddersfield can come up with something a little bit different. That standing a little bit deeper might help them.
Kopchak takes it on.
Having Craig Hubie back on the field helps for the Giants. If he can get the ball in his hands.
And here he is. Right on cue. Ablett just slowing the play, the ball down. Leeming. It's the ball away. It's Jack Hughes, isn't it? It is.
Let's see if this youngster Leeming can...
Another penalty for Huddersfield.
I'd like to see Cruz Leeming
A little goal to throw the dummy. Just test the defence.
There he is, Cruz Leeming with the...
Can't throw a dummy from there.
No, he had the ball in his hand. He was shouting the instructions to his teammates around him. Not bad on this, his first appearance of the year. Here he is again. And now Brough. Long ball. And Connor will bring it back.
Controlled defence yet again.
Good work from Connor, though. He's not put down yet. Now he is, by Singleton and Peacock. Again, they just delay a second or two. Leeds at the ruck. Grix, short ball. Lawrence will go, and will he get it down?
I don't think he's got it down.
Yes, he has. That's going to be given.
What a great second effort. If that's the case, it looked as though, for all the world, he's got rolled over on his back.
Back from 2 outs, he got a try off the bench against Hull last week. That was his first try of the year. He's picked up a knock as Michael Lawrence in scoring that try, limping heavily away. Second try in as many games for Michael Lawrence after being with a big blank alongside his name all year.
And this is the ball strip. This gave him the opportunity. And I must say, this is a way to come back on the inside. Briggs did well. And at long last, a Huddersfield player has run onto the ball with great strength.
You'd want a second look at that, wouldn't you? Michael Lawrence comes back in. He seems to be, well, can't seriously believe he's made his way through, then decides to try and go over the line. Hasn't got down the first occasion. Well, there we go, slammed it down. That's the referee's angle, you would imagine. That's why he was so calm. Here we go. Perfectly positioned. Perfectly positioned. Yeah, and that's why he was so confident in awarding the try. Good decision was Richard Silverwood, and a very timely score from Michael Lawrence. Yes, 2 points here now, Eddie.
Indeed, a timely score, and the conversion is added by Danny Brough. Just what they wanted, Huddersfield, as they try and claw their way back into this match, and claw their way back they have.
Yeah, full credit. Running on to the ball with great force. Did well to get it down. Ayton tried his damnedest. Hardacre arrived such too late.
Well, they've had 20 players inside the opposition's 20-metre zone in that third quarter of the match. And in the end, it was the final one that got them over for the try. Now we get to the final quarter. These two sides have great records this season in the last 20 minutes. Brilliant at scoring and defending. Now, with the opponents in sight, the Giants have something to chase.
Yes, they have. And remember, the Giants came back from 18-0 down at Headingley in February and so nearly won the match. Just lost it in the end, courtesy of Paul Ayton's first ever try for the Rhinos. His first and only try. Here is Leeming with a little scamper away. And that ball came free, but went backwards. It was picked up by Wood. Here they come again. This now is Gudjoe. Suddenly there's belief in the Giants.
Yeah, good run by the youngster Leeming as well.
Brough, little kick on the outside of the boot. Comet challenge for that, and did Murphy get the touchdown?
I don't think so.
But do they get the goal line drop out? They do.
Well, Murphy must have only been a couple of inches away for that. It was good pressure, wasn't it? Oh, right at the very last moment.
Well done, Jake Connor. He had to really, really put himself under pressure to try and get to that kick. Brough landed it right on the try line. And it was Connor's pressure that's forced Leeds Rhinos to duck the ball dead. Great position again. You would think that if the Huddersfield Giants want to be, forget about a top 8, a top 4 side, they'll have to look at this position with time on the clock, Eddie, and only 8 points behind. That's a good position to be in.
And that's the third goal line dropout that the Giants have forced here tonight. So here comes the Welsh international Craig Copter. Oh, Jamie Peacock a bit high.
Well, everyone saw it as a high shot apart from the man with the whistle.
Ukumatai, he's important to them now.
All of a sudden, the Giants have woken up.
QB gets the pass away. Brough. Smothered by Sutcliffe.
Yeah,
Leeming is directing the traffic.
I must say, Liam Sutcliffe has done a good job on Danny Brough. Really has picked him out, kept him quiet for most of the game.
That's a quick play the ball, just what they wanted. Leeming flicks the pass to Grix, and Grix tries to sidestep a couple.
This is where Brough has to take control.
And it's with Danny Brough, and there's the kick out wide, and the ball has come free, and that could be a try on the far side for Jermaine McGilvray. It's given. His 80th try for Huddersfield, and that's breathed life into them. The England Knights international, Jermaine McGilvray. And what about this? They've won all of the last 16 in which he has scored a try. Jermaine McGilvray.
Well, that's about the first time we've seen a smile from Ken Davey, and not surprisingly, but what a beautiful kick from Danny Brough. You've got to be Johnny on the spot. Well, not Johnny, but Jermaine. That'll do. It starts with a J, and they're back in this match. Who would have thought it? At 22-8 at half-time, Leeds bossing in everything, in all departments, and they get a little bit of luck. Ooh, did that bobble?
It did, but I think he had the downward pressure. I think there wasn't a problem. It's been given anyway. You're reading about it in the papers tomorrow. You're listening and watching about it here tonight, and this is a big kick for Brough. Can he add the extras? No, he can't. But they are back in it. 18 points to 22, just 4 in it now.
Well, he's barrel-chested and he returns the ball brilliantly, Jermaine McGilvray, throughout the games, but he's one of the smallest wingers in Super League. He rose as high as he possibly could there, got fingertips to it, kept his eye on the ball as it came down, and grounded it perfectly. Well, a huge score for his side. 22-8 at half-time. You thought the Leeds Rhinos might go on and just kill the game in the first 10 minutes, but the Giants, they've hung in. 4-point game now.
Yes, it's a great second-half revival from them. And Leeds, you can tell by that chase from the kick-off and the swarm around the man carrying the ball. They don't want to give them any more daylight. Akumatai takes it forward. Ryan McDermott knows that for the first time tonight, they're in a little bit of a crisis.
Well, it's as though that this Huddersfield side has pulled in at the petrol station and said, listen, we didn't have much fuel in the first half, and they have topped them up big time.
Well, they've topped them up because they've had the ball, and they've virtually monopolised possession since the half-time, and another penalty here now will give them an opportunity to perhaps take the lead in this match.
Ayton was rattled then.
Yeah, and this is where Leeds have got to just calm down. Should have ignored that. Kopjak, who was giving away 2 silly penalties in the first half, now he gets one back.
7 of the last 8 have gone to the Huddersfield Giants. I mean, Richard Silverwood's got to be thinking about putting them on a team warning, the Leeds Rhinos, if they continue to offend.
Hubie goes down, tackle number 1, 18 metres away. Leeming gets a short ball away to Akumatai again. He bounced out of the first.
Oh, hold on to it.
How did he keep hold of that? It's all over him. Leeming, Kopjak, Brough, great ball back to Wardle. He scored! Joe Wardle's second try. Huddersfield are level, not given yet. Are they going to look for this awful word obstruction in the build-up?
Yeah, they did the switch move. Wardle came storming through. He's going upstairs.
Well, they've got to find a big reason to deny this, because it's right under the sticks, and Brough will add the extras, and Huddersfield will hit the front if it's given.
Well, there was certainly a Huddersfield player in the line there. I think it's Hubie, but I actually saw the Leeds player doing this in the first half, where he would push into that defender, and the question is who's gone to who. I think he could have got away from that.
It's Cuthbertson. Cuthbertson realises he can't get there, and watch this. Cuthbertson will go to him.
They both know what they're doing.
That's obstruction.
They both know what they're doing.
Brian, that's obstruction.
In the first instance, Craig Hubie does go through to block him. I think this will be disallowed. Keep an eye on Craig Hubie coming in. Ball goes behind him, and then there. It's that movement towards Cuthbertson. Admittedly, Cuthbertson doesn't make a huge effort to try and get around him, but on the first instance they would say that unnecessarily Hubie moved towards Cuthbertson.
The question is, does Cuthbertson have a chance to get around him?
He doesn't have to get. He stood in his path. He doesn't have to.
He was a long way from the ball. He was a long way from the ball, and he had the opportunity to get out of the way.
I think it will be given. Well, I think Cuthbertson stops. He's had no chance of getting to him, and then moves to him.
There's the contact. Hubie's walking back towards his own line. Cuthbertson's following him.
This should be given as a try.
Well, 12 months ago, it would 100% be chalked off.
But we're not 12 months.
The new interpretations of this obstruction law.
If I was a Huddersfield player, Eddie, I'd fear that because of Hubie's movements, this try will be disallowed. It was an unnecessary movement towards Cuthbertson. Cuthbertson might have made the most of it, but I think for that, it might be chalked off. We'll wait and see.
This is a big call. It's given. It's given, and Huddersfield are level. Kick to come. And Paul Anderson's men will be back in front. They were in the 6th minute when Wardle went over for the early try. They conceded 22 unanswered points. They turned round with the game gone at half-time. They fought back with a vengeance, and Wardle's second try and Brooks' goal to come will nudge them ahead again.
And I think the video referees, Ganson and Thaler, have got it absolutely spot on. Because as far as I'm concerned, Cuthbertson had no chance. Look, he's stopped, and the mere fact that he just got a bump does not constitute obstruction. And boy, they've gone bananas here.
They have, because a second ago, Brough has added the extras, and from 22 points to 8 down at half-time, Huddersfield now lead 24 points to 22. Anderson was punching the air with delight. Brian McDermott was just prowling the touchline. Stuart, just tell us again, why has that try been given?
Because personally, I think that Cuthbertson's got plenty of opportunity to get out of the way. Hubie was actually walking back towards his own goal line when the player went past him with the ball. I think that's a great decision.
Well, it isn't often I agree with you, Stuart, but I am on this occasion. And how important is it that Danny Brough decided, with only 13 seconds remaining of the first half, take that penalty kick? That could prove to be the distance, but let's not forget, Leeds are not done yet. There's still plenty of time. What a great kick. It'll be a little bit too long. Oh!
No, it's not.
That is incredible. That is incredible. He's a magician to come up with something like that.
Wow.
Oh!
This game has turned upside down.
You know, it's not a rule that I like, but if Ash Handley had touched the ball while it was still moving, it would have been a tap 20 restart, and a lot of the pressure that Hutt Leeds are currently under hadn't been the case. I don't know whether he is aware of the rules, but under pressure, he didn't exploit them to his full advantage.
No, he didn't. To be fair, Cuthbertson again. Oh, the pass was a bit loose, but it found its way to Maguire. Here is Joe Moon. Now Handley! Clawed to the ground by Jack Hughes. They're holding on. They're just delaying the quick play the ball. And Maguire this time with a kick. And that was soccer skills from Scott Griggs. Let's go downstairs. Angela, news on Michael Lawrence, I believe.
Yes, Eddie, he went down to score that try that started this revival, but unfortunately, as he did, he twisted his knee, went in to have some treatment after the try was scored, but unfortunately, he won't come back on now. He's sitting on the bench here. We're getting some strapping on his knee, but that's it for him for this game.
Well, that's a shame for Michael Lawrence. That's one down each then, because Brett Delaney is also off, of course, with concussion. He won't be back tonight for Leeds. And Brough just drifts the kick in towards the corner. Another telling little kick, and he finds touch as well.
Brilliant.
Well, he's starting to run it now.
Yeah, you know, 30 minutes in that first half. He was nowhere to be seen. They were getting hammered. They were getting absolutely pulverized. And the home crowd, they are witnessing something special, and that was special from Danny Brough. He's trying to keep pretty calm, cool and collected is Paul Anderson.
We're watching deja vu here, because this was exactly the scoreline Huddersfield led at Headingley before Ayton's first ever try.
Well, our man Phil, he does his homework, doesn't he? He said it was going to come down to the last minutes in these games, and he's absolutely right. At 22 points to 6, 5 minutes to go in the first half, when Callum Watkins crashed over on the right-hand side of the field. I'm sure the Huddersfield Giants fans are thinking the worst. Look at it now.
Forward pass here, the whistle's gone. It's going to come back for Huddersfield, head and feet at the scrum. The Leeds man had to stretch. He had to stretch every sinew in his arms to pick this ball up. Aiton's pass, and Maguire, look at the way he had to lean forward to get that.
Yeah, he gave himself up there. Not the best from Paul Aiton, who had a tremendous first 25 minutes.
Well, they had a wonderful first half. This game is it's just turned round.
The Giants have had all the ball, and it's been all to the left, Eddie, all in this half. Jamie Jones-Buchanan might be under a bit of pressure here defending. He's got some strapping around his leg. I've noticed him stopping and stretching it when there's been breaks in play. And if any of these fast-footed Giants players come at him now, like Leroy Cudjoe, he's going to be asked to make sure he can make contact and make the tackle.
Well, he did then, and of course, remember, he's coming back from a hamstring problem. 5 weeks ago is Jones Buchanan, so he's obviously feeling the pinch, apart from the fact that he's got that strapping round his thigh. Here is Hubie. Down he goes.
He's certainly made a difference, Craig Hubie, and also Okuma Tai. He's certainly put himself about. This is good play.
Briggs gets it away. Here's Cudjoe. Flying tackle was missed by Maguire. Now then, has he wiped the tackle count down there, the referee?
Yeah,
6 to go.
play.
6 to go. Brough and Grix. And here is Jake Connor. Grix again, off the ground, into the arms of Wardle.
He's had a big game, hasn't he, Wardle? He's had to. He's really come alive in the second half.
They all have. Crabtree. Brough skips away from Peacock. Lovely hands and feet from Wood.
Nearly got through.
Pushes Grix out of the way. Brough again. Dab to the in goal. Knocked dead by Hanley. Goal line dropout.
Good work by the winger Hanley. It had to be as well. But the man that's tormenting them is Danny Brough yet again. Beautiful little dink into the in-goal area. He's controlling the match now. Full credit to Hanley. Pressure.
Well, it's almost like an attritional boxing match, isn't it, where they put a lot of body blows in early on, Huddersfield. They couldn't get any points or any knockout, but as the game's worn on, all of the work they've done to stay at this end of the field and build pressure is now providing the rewards that they've worked so hard for. They're hoping they can get one more 6 points, which will certainly give them a little bit of breathing space in the last few minutes.
Okuma Tai takes it forward, gets the ball slipped away to Leeming, but the referee had shouted he was held, so it'll be coming back for the play the ball. Leeming again though, and that was Wood. He found Cudjoe.
Making a good fist of it, this fella, isn't he? Cruz Leeming.
He is.
Settled in next to, ooh, that looked a bit dodgy.
Oh, here goes Crabtree.
Got away with it there, it looked a bit forward. Come on, young, set have a go on your own.
Ablett round the ankles, Leeming into Okuma Tai. Brough, dab to the in-goal, big chase on. And this time, it's Callum Watkins who saves the Leeds Rhinos bacon.
Deja vu, same man, different area. And it looked as though Wardle was going to go in. This was a hat-trick chance.
Going to check the restart, is he, on this?
Yeah, Joe Wardle was pretty close to it. I think it's come up Callum Watkins last. I think his instinct is right.
The 5th goal line dropout that they have forced Huddersfield, and it's just been taken. And as Crabtree gets the ball, the crowd rises. They're really getting behind them now.
Well, had nothing to cheer about in the first 40.
No, their voices have been saved, that's for sure. Wood goes wide to Cudjoe. He gets the pass away, the return ball to Wood. Here goes Crabtree again. Those big legs pumping towards Paul Aiton. And Leeming once more. Hubie, Brough, Wardle on a hat-trick, remember. Down he goes, though. And they're saying that Achurch was round the neck.
Nothing outrageous from Huddersfield, just nice and steady.
Wood, short ball, and Jack Hughes, was he tackled? No, play on. Oh, another knockdown by Hanley. Boy, the wingers have certainly got the fingertips to some of these. and have saved what could be certain tries for Huddersfield.
They're looking at a possible penalty here to the Leeds side, passing it after the tackle's completed.
Well, I think the tackle was complete. The ball carrying now has hit the ground, so there's not a great deal they can do about it now.
This should be head and feed to...
he's giving the penalty. Well, I just heard the toucher say that he thought it passed it okay. So, anyway.
And why did you say they couldn't do much about it now?
Well, because the player got on. They can't use the video referee for that. So, you know, we've got the scrum as a restart.
So Silverwood had to make the decision on his own.
He did.
And he obviously had a niggling doubt at the back of his mind.
He did.
Got to be careful now, the Giants. Don't give away a silly penalty.
That could be a big call by Richard Silverwood, that, you know.
It is a big call.
Was this art? Yes, it was.
Yeah,
yes, it was.
You could see that Joel Moon had a hand to him.
Good call in the end from Richard Silverwood. Church here for Leeds.
Another good tackle by Wardle. He really has settled into the second row.
Maguire's pass finds its way to Handley. Oh, good run from the young winger Handley. Down he goes, 12 metres away from the Huddersfield line. They've got a couple of tackles left here. Peacock will drive it in. There is Sutcliffe. Great ball to Church. Pulled down just short. Last one coming up here for Leeds. Ayton. Oh, he dropped that, but it's a penalty. They weren't standing on the line.
Wardle pulled off a magnificent tackle and then failed to get over the line. He was caught offside. Watch there, Wardle.
Oh, hang on, his foot was on the line.
It's around that area. They've got to get behind there, and just diving round at the play of the ball is always going to be penalised in that area.
Well, needless to say, with a 2-point deficit to make up, Leeds are going to go for the penalty kick here at goal. And this is a tester for Liam Sutcliffe and his nerve.
They've definitely got to go for the two. No doubt that Wardle was bending over.
Well, remember last year against the Catalan Dragons, Liam Sutcliffe held his nerve, kicked the goal and won the match. It's not for the win, this is for a draw at the moment with just less than 4 to go.
Which will be the same as the game last year between these two sides. A great contest when they meet, although knowing that the I don't know, the endeavour, the enterprise and the entrepreneurial spirit of this Leeds side, it won't surprise me when this goes over whether they're starting to think about scoring again.
Yes, it was 12 apiece here last year. It's double the scores here if Sutcliffe kicks this. Liam Sutcliffe, 20 years of age, third start at standoff, in the boots of Kevin Sinfield. What a big moment this is. And he is the heir apparent. It's 24 apiece, and all to play for in the last 3.5 minutes of the match.
Well, we said they had to be careful. He's not happy. He thought that the feet was well and truly over the whitewash, and it wasn't.
One of his feet, one foot was on the line.
It was, but around that area there, right around the ruck, near the goal line, any player that's diving into the ruck is going to get penalised.
Actually, they're not standing square, are they?
No.
That's the penalty.
And they know it. Now then. Are Leeds going to be happy just to take the draw?
I don't think so. They're both, what have we got? 3.25 minutes, they'll both get another set, won't they?
Yep. It depends whereabouts in the field of play. So
here goes Ayton. Ayton won that match at Headingley in February. His first and only try for this club. Burrows back out there. Here is Peacock. He finds Maguire. They're spreading it wide with Hardacre. Further wide it goes with Jimmy Kinehorst. And Kinehorst, is he going to go over the whitewash? Yes! It's a penalty though. He was being dragged.
He was being dragged over. They've got the penalty.
And Danny Brough should not sound off like that to the touch judge.
Not a happy bunny.
Call out because there's a player landing right. There's a pause and then there's a second push into touch. You're stood there, we're tackling. How can we hear you?
Well, I haven't got a microphone.
No,
Go on.
They couldn't hear him. They couldn't hear him, says Danny Brough. See, that's the point where Danny Brough gets himself sideways and starts to drag the player. That's when the referee calls held. All players know they can't drag. I know they can't hear him, but, you know, held is called and the tackle's complete, they have to release.
Now, the last thing that Huddersfield need to do here is concede another penalty. Is there a one-pointer on the way?
Yeah, of course it's a one-pointer.
Is it Sutcliffe?
Normally we would be shouting out,
Danny Maguire's...
Sinfield, it's got to be Danny Maguire.
No,
Sutcliffe.
it's Sutcliffe. I think he's done it. No, he hasn't. Just went wide, just drifted wide.
Emptied off, there'll be Leeds fans saying Kevin Sinfield would have buried that.
Well, he didn't last year, did he, when it was 12-all?
Danny Maguire dropped a goal at Wembley, remember? Danny Maguire was about 10-15 metres further back than Sutcliffe. They went for Sutcliffe. We're in the last minute and a half. After the first half, you'd say it was Leeds all the way. In the second half, Huddersfield have fought back courageously. Is a draw a fair result?
Well, we often say it's a game of two halves, and that certainly has been the case here.
That's a great run from Kopchak.
They need another one.
Yeah.
They need to be 40 metres out.
And Hubie and Wood.
It's a long way.
Well, they are 40 metres out. That's what you called for.
I know, but it's still a long way. It's 43. It's an awful one.
Handley safely pockets the ball. We're in the last minute. Ooh, that looked forward.
That was a mile forward, and the officials haven't seen it. That is amazing.
Huddersfield desperate for the mistake. Oh, hang on. Hardaker shouldn't be doing that. Hardaker shouldn't be doing that.
Oh, I'll have to go to the touch judge here. What on earth has Hardaker done? It's a great tackle, and that looked very, very much like a forward pass.
Well, the referee says just put the ball in your hands and play the ball. So, we're into the last 20 seconds. And Sutcliffe, quick play the ball. Feet in there, feet in there. Now there is a chance. This is the last chance, Ukumatai.
They've got 7 seconds.
Brough knew it was charged down. And Peacock is the first to react. And he hacks it forward. And Watkins is after it. And Griggs has knocked it on. And back it comes to H-Church. And here is Ablett. And this is Burrow. And it's Burrow.
I can't believe it. Burrow has slipped and it's all over. It was a try on the cards. And the little fella just slipped. He can't believe it. No one can.
A slip twixt cup and lip. And 2 points, or at least 1 point, goes a begging. What a game.
Tremendous stuff. It was all over. All they had to do was just step.
And Danny Brough followed the officials almost to the players' tunnel, debating and arguing the point, and he's not happy, is Danny Brough. But the two skippers eventually shake hands. And wow, what a game we have seen. It was all over, wasn't it? Half-time, Leeds were coasting to 2 points. Second half, a new Huddersfield emerged. And they scored 3 tries, Lawrence, McGilvray and Wardle. They led 24-22. Sutcliffe got the penalty goal, held his nerve, and we have a draw at 24 apiece. 12-all here last year, 24 apiece this year. Brian and John pick the bones out of that.
It keeps delivering, doesn't it? What an end to a Super League game that was. Rob Burrow, different studs who might go over and seal perhaps a controversial win. Look, no scores for the first 18 minutes of the second half. 8 points to 22, as you said, Eddie, at half-time. No scores for Huddersfield at the start of the second half, but plenty of opportunities.
Oh, Huddersfield had everything, but they had territory, possession, and plenty of it as well.
But no sharp attack.
No. Well, you say that, I want to pick out this man again, Ash Handley, because I think his movements, as he did against St Helens in round 11, scored a superb interception try. Look how short they are here. Now, this movement, Ash Handley's come up and in, and he's going to sit himself in between these two players. He's done for numbers all ends up. But that ability to get himself in the way, in the numbers, and yes, give away another set of 6, but I think also it gets in the head of Scott Griggs, because another opportunity presents itself a couple of seconds later. Now, at this point here, you'd think Scott Griggs has got a pass there. They've got a 3-on-2. So 2 defenders, 3 attackers. So you think that's a definite pass. But I think because of Ash Handley's involvement before, that's why you get the holding of the ball. And I'm not suggesting it breeds a negative way of playing, but I certainly think that's more down to what Leeds did in defence than what Huddersfield were doing in attack at that stage.
OK, Huddersfield did score a try through Michael Lawrence on the 58th minute, 14 points to 22, and they would have had life and they would have belief, and they had spark as well. Jermaine McGillivray provided plenty of that, John.
Yeah, I think this is where Leeds, probably calmer heads, should have prevailed there. Maybe talk about what Sinfield would have done in the same situation. Danny Maguire goes at this point, still plenty of points in the bag. You know, they weren't looking out of it. They go for an optional restart, don't get it. And it's Jermaine McGillivray who provides the spark. I thought he was, you know, he just decided to pin his ears back, and it had looked very uncommitted from Huddersfield in attack until that point, devoid of ideas really. And Brough at that stage was having a quiet game. Jamie Ellis had gone missing for large parts of that, and then McGillivray pops up with a try as well. Michael Lawrence had obviously crossed for the 4-pointer in between, and it's worth having another look at this from a different angle, because I want to show you the kick technique from Danny Brough. Eyes on the ball, head down, follow through's perfect, and that's an inch perfect kick, and gives his wingman every chance. Sits Handley underneath it. Really well taken by the wingman.
There's few people better kicking the ball than Danny Brough. That 18 points to 22. Brough unable to convert that try. Huddersfield Giants, plenty of belief. A Joe Wardle try given after reference to the video referee. You would imagine last year this might have been ruled off. They have given it and they've ruled no obstruction. John, give us your take on this.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you the video ref's interpretation, because I zipped through there to get their take on this. Now, the reasoning that this try was awarded was that Cuthbertson, at this stage, just run it on a tiny bit more for you. So these are the two guys we're talking about in this circle here. So Cuthbertson and Hubie. So Hubie does make a movement into the line here. Cuthbertson's coming out this way. They do connect. At this time, though, and I think this is the crucial point, the ball's way over here. It's out of the way. Now, at this stage, they're not to know the ball's going to turn back inside. So that's the obstruction. Now, Craig Hubie at that point, again, I'll just take it back for you a second. Craig Hubie's now facing back towards his own sticks, and he's not actively trying to block. And the interpretation there is that Cuthbertson sits and holds there together with him. I'm not so sure. My opinion is it's a little less clear for me. So we'll take that back just a couple of seconds, and we'll show that again in its entirety, because I think there's perhaps a little bit more cynical playing here from Craig Hubie. Stands his ground, makes himself big, and opens that up. But that was the try. You know, it's not all that controversial, but it was the try, and he had a big part to play in the result of this game, did Joe Wardle.
He absolutely did, and we can hear now Joe Wardle's thoughts on that game. He's man of the match, and he's talking to Angela.
Well, apologies there. We appear to have lost the sound on Angela's interview with Joe Wardle. So it is the end of the match, as you can tell. The stadium has been emptied now by the two sets of supporters. And we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will return for more analysis of this dramatic game that has ended all square between the Huddersfield Giants and the Leeds Rhinos. Well, I hope that you can hear us and you're watching us still now, because we have seen a quite dramatic match here at the John Smith Stadium. Huddersfield, the home of the Giants, 24-all it ended. Leeds with a brilliant first half, and Huddersfield with a fantastic second half fight back. Tremendous stuff at the end of this first Utility Super League match. Let's see what it means to the table. And Leeds, of course, still on top. They've increased the lead to 5, going down to join Paul Anderson, who is the Huddersfield Giants coach. There he is. He's talking to Angela Powers.
Paul, we asked the question, don't we? Was that a point lost or a point gained?
Both. I don't know which way you can look at it. We tale of two halves, all cliches and what have you. Once again, it's a mirror image of the round 3, I think it was, where we just give ourselves too much to do. And I just said to the players there in the first half, I thought it's the first time this year I could have questioned some of our effort. I thought we were pretty poor in that first half, but credit to the resilience and the character within the group that they were saying at half time. I had to say very little, if I'm being honest. They were just saying everything themselves, and they knew what to fix up.
That was the belief was there, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. You don't do the things we've done over the last few years and get to where we are and come up with performances like that without knowing how to rectify it.
Last minute, it gives the thrill to all of the crowd and everybody watching at home, but not for a coach.
One of the things I can tell the players now is that you can quite clearly punch people in front of the post and not give a penalty away.
Thank you very much for that, for coming out, Paul. Cheers for that. We're going to talk to Brian McDermott now. What did you just say to him there, Brian?
None of our business.
I was eavesdropping. Yeah. I asked him the question: a point won or a point lost or a point gained?
I don't think it's a case of that. Good game, and I thought we were really good in the first half, and just crazily we just didn't have any field position or possession of the ball in that second half, anything to do anything with, and then that final 10 minutes where we got a bit of ball, we had too much gas taken out of us. So great, Huddersfield in the second half, didn't they have a real good goal, score some fantastic tries. So, you know, disappointed that we didn't get a win, but then given everything that we had to defend in that second half, they're glad to come away with a draw.
You did say at half-time that you have to be very respectful to this side, and they did exactly what you expected them to do.
Well, we've prepped for a very good team, and we talked about half-time, and the players spoke at half-time that there's a better version of them, and we'll see that better version of them. I don't think they were at the races in the first half, made us look good, I would say, in the first half. So, yeah, when we saw a far better version in the second half.
Just one final question about Kevin Sinfield. He didn't come out today. Could you have done with him near the end there? Drop goal expert?
Well, he certainly can drop a goal, can't he? But I thought the players that played, and Liam Sutcliffe and Danny Maguire did a fantastic job to get us into that position, you know, to be in with the draw of the game, yeah.
Thanks very much for that, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, wonderful line from Brian at the start of that, when Angela asked him what he just said to Paul Anderson. None of your business, he said, and I don't suppose it is. That's the coaches' union coming to the fore there. But they have both those coaches, both of their teams have produced Phil Clark. Truly memorable 80 minutes here in the Super League, haven't they? The first half was brilliant from Leeds. The second half, the fight back, and Paul Anderson used the word resilience. And boy, were the Giants resilient or what?
I agree. I thought it was a great game, and with courage, commitment, and a little bit of controversy. I think both supporters, when they go home and watch this again on Sky Plus, they'll end up saying, well, we should have won it. That was a penalty that should have gone our way. Those chances were very fine, weren't they, and went either way. The possession, though, in the second half, I've never seen it more one-sided in favour of us as a team. You know, if you look at chances in your opposition 20-metre zone, the Huddersfield Giants had 5 times as long attacking Leeds on the try line, and I've really got to compliment Leeds. The defence on their own line for long periods of that second half was remarkable. And Huddersfield's ability, though, to get back in it equally as impressive.
Absolutely. You know, none of our cliches are original, but that really was the game of two halves. Now then, tonight, Sky Sports 1, we have the NFL Draft for you at midnight. That's live. And right now on Sky Sports 4, golf, the World Golf Championship, the Cadillac Match Play Championship, Day 2. That's available for you now on Sky Sports 4. Sky Sports 3 tomorrow at 7:30, Wigan against Hull Kingston Rovers. If it is half as good as what we've seen here tonight, we will all be thrilled to bits. Fantastic. Leeds without Kevin Sinfield, brilliant first half. Second half, all Huddersfield. Draw fair result. From us all here, bye-bye.